Hello everybody, it is Thursday, November 19th, 2015, and what time it is? It's game time. Welcome to episode number 7 of John and Ted's Excellent Gamecast, brought to you by RaptorCow. Black Friday is around the corner, the fallout is in the air, Starcraft and Star Wars are shining brightly, and I'm your host, Ted Edwards. What's going on? John is here. What's up, man?
Hey Ted, how's it going? It's the John Elway episode.
It's the John Elway episode for sure. Hey, John, as always, we're not alone, though.
No.
So we have a very special guest today. We have Justin French. How's it going, Justin?
All good, thank you.
Awesome. And as you listeners can hear, Justin is from Texas. So, so how's everybody doing? How's this weekend going? Pretty good, John? What's happening in John's house?
I got a little sick over the weekend. I'm still kind of struggling with it, and let's not really
was
talk
it linked
about
to the
Denver
Broncos?
too much.
Yeah, I was saying, was your sickness linked to the Broncos?
Yeah.
Oh man, yeah, that was rough. I mean, Peyton Manning breaks the record and then gets benched. Ouch.
Yeah, that was atrocious football right there.
So I think we're going to end our football talk right there for this week. I don't think it merits talking about.
No, it definitely doesn't.
So for sure, Justin, I'll ask you: are you an NFL fan at all?
I've never really got into it.
Okay.
I actually used to live in the States a while ago when I was younger, but NFL was never my thing. I was into hockey a bit more.
Oh, fantastic.
Oh, really?
What part of the country were you in? That might dictate it. Were you in Minnesota or Wisconsin?
I was actually in New Jersey.
Oh, fair
there
enough.
you go. New Jersey Devils, baby.
Yep. Okay, fair enough. There you go. That'll do it. So yes, I have had a busy week. I think I mentioned earlier, John, that I am moving, so I have that stress going on. It's just a pain, but
feel for you.
Yeah, it's a pain in the butt, but hey, got to get it done, and I'm excited. And so everybody listening to this podcast will hopefully have better audio quality because there'll be no trains.
I'll miss the train.
I know the train is every 20 minutes, like clockwork, even at 3 a.m. So.
That's brutal.
Oh, it's rough, but hey, I mean, you get used to it. So like when it's not there, I'm like, hey, I'm wide awake. I'm like, where are you at? I'm waiting for you.
I took the train a couple months ago, probably, and I got off on a stop I normally don't get off on, and this train literally went through like a neighborhood. Like I could have.
Oh no!
It was probably 100 feet away from some houses' backyards, and I was like,
"It's by my house.
I could not live here."
Yeah, did you see me? I was waving.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, "Wow!" I didn't think trains would get this close to houses, but man.
Yeah, I'm excited to get away as far away from this thing as possible. So yeah, it'll be good. Anything else exciting, Justin? What have you been up to these days?
Mainly working, playing a bit of Fallout 4. Well, actually, hell of a lot of Fallout 4.
It's that time of year. Yep, Fallout, like I said, Fallout is in the air. We will be discussing that, of course. So how many hours have you dumped into that thing so far?
Probably around 30 or 40, I would say.
Nice. Not too shabby. Good. So yeah, it's everyone knows that the whole Fallout train is going, and then we'll get into that in a little bit. But I have to just put somebody on blast right now, John.
Okay.
So yesterday, I was slapped with a traffic ticket from Officer Peterson. So Officer Peterson, if you're listening, you suck. This fellow was very condescending, and he gave me a ticket because he didn't understand my registration. So,
really?
Yeah, because he didn't understand it, he gave me a ticket, and he was kind of a jerk. He proceeded to explain and define the word debate to me, and like I didn't understand what it meant. And he also suggested that I buy another car for work.
Buy another car for work.
This is what I quote. He's like, if you have this one registered as your business car, which has my logo, all of it, for my company on it, and it's registered at my company location. He's like, well, why don't you just buy a separate car for work? I was like, okay, we're down here.
Yeah.
Can I have your card, your badge number? Oh man! So he proceeded to give me a nice fatty registration ticket, which is over $1,000. So it'll
What?
be yeah.
Wow.
We're gonna have to deal with that soon. But hey, so Officer Peterson from the Burbank Police Department, you are officially on blast. You suck and you're a douche. All right.
Yeah, I concur.
I feel better now.
Yeah.
Dude, that's insane.
Yeah, man. Like it's just nothing at all. Like he just felt like being a punk. And
What he pulled you over, or were you already pulled over?
well, yeah, he pulled Shauna over for like I guess there was an illegal turn sign that she made. Like it wasn't even anything crazy. It was right into our apartment complex. So she was in the current complex right now. Like, and he pulled in. And he's like, oh yeah, there's a legal turn back there. No big deal. And then, so he didn't give her a ticket, right? But,
okay.
you know, she's driving my car and she's on the registration and everything. But she's like, oh, wait, I don't understand this registration. How does this work? And so I proceeded to explain to him what's going on. And he's like, well, I don't understand why you're doing business this way. This doesn't make sense. I'm going to give you a ticket.
Ted, that's where you went wrong, Ted. You should have just let Shauna handle it.
That's exactly what I said. I was like, you know what, Shauna? But unfortunately, the registration was in my name, so he had to talk to me. So
okay, you should have pretended like you couldn't talk, like you're mute or something.
Yeah, because she smiled and got her way out of a ticket.
That's what I'm saying. Like you should have just let her ride the gravy train, man.
I know, pretty girl. Hey, how's it going?
Exactly.
He's like, oh, what? You ran 3 red lights and I'm going 90 and a 20? Oh, just don't worry about it.
just be careful next time.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what happened. He no ticket for what he originally pulled her over for, but I got slapped with the fat one and got the barrage of ridiculous insults and just condescending tone and
oh man.
Hey, I guess I'm not pretty enough, darn it.
Exactly.
Maybe you should have shown some leg or something.
That's what I was saying. I should have done my hair yesterday morning or something, and that would have helped. But shoot.
Yeah.
Oh well. Hey, what can you do? But hey, I feel better. Like I got that out of the system, and hey, I mean, you just laugh it off. But it's $1,000 joke.
Man,
yeah. So
you guys don't mess around the West Coast with registration tickets, that's for sure.
Like California, they're a pain in the butt about that. So I have a court date set. They give you the court date on the ticket.
Yeah, you got to go fight and stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna go do something. But still, when you fight it, even if you get it reduced, you got to pay like $270 for the court fee. So it's like,
what?
Yeah. So it's like, let's say you get like a.
Man, that's total gangster move right there.
$300 ticket dropped. Let's say you go speeding. You get it dropped. It was not right. You still got to pay $270 for the court fee. So it's like, yeah, it's.
So you got to figure out, it's even worth your time.
Well, it ends up being worth your time because you don't want to on your insurance because your insurance will go up. All this, they get they're dirty.
Man,
yeah. Hey, how is it over in the UK, Justin? Are they that bad?
No. I mean, the most fine you would probably get is about £75 fine, which is $140 fine.
Yeah.
And if you pay it within 7 days, I think it gets reduced in half.
Oh my goodness!
No kidding.
And you can also write in, if you write in by either email or letter to contest it, you can get it removed completely.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm going to do the whole write-in thing and all that stuff. It's just you have to deal with it, and then most of the times they're really slow. And so again, like I said, it's traffic ticket and all this stuff. And then the officer, it wasn't a typical police officer. It said Officer Peterson, and the next to it said traffic officer in traffic bureau. So
he's like the hallway guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
He's not even a real officer. Yeah, I was like, wow, guy, like come on, bro. Like so he was like quoting like law ordinances. Well, city section 1.2.5 states that your vehicle must be 3 inches below the curb.
Mr. Edwards, your registration shouldn't be listed.
Exactly, and I was like, whatever. I mean, like I said, I'm all for like law enforcement and hey, doing your job, and hey, everyone's got to eat, everyone's got to make money. I get it,
right?
But, I mean, do the right thing, exercise some discretion, and just because you don't understand something doesn't mean it's wrong.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. And at least he didn't shoot you.
Yeah.
So.
Hey. Hey. You know what? That sometimes you got to worry about that, and like it's not a joking matter, but no, you're so right because, like I said, I am not a white person, so
right. Yeah.
Like the whole racial tension stuff that's going on, and police officers. Yeah, like at least he didn't shoot me, but he did tell me, "Sir, you need to just step away and just go to the other side of the vehicle right this instant." I'm like, "Sir, I'm talking to you in a normal voice. You're the one raising your voice." But so, again, it turned out to be like a 30-minute ordeal. And then he told me to stop debating with him, and I said, okay. And then after he writes me the ticket, he starts debating, explaining. I said, hey, no, we're not debating. Just give me your card. and I go, "Stop talking."
Woo,
You know-
man, you're lucky he didn't cuff you, dude.
Oh, you can say if as long as it's your opinion, you can say I feel you're being a douchebag, and you're fine. If you say you, yeah, because it's my opinion. But if you say I am, or excuse me, you are, then you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So
Man.
whatever. But hey, that was my weekend.
Yeah. Phew, man.
So everything's good on that front, though. But hey, so
On top of the NFL debacle across the board.
oh, it was crazy. I mean, I'm a big college football guy too. So college football was just turned on its head. Like I think we talked earlier about the whole 4 or 5 of the top 10 teams losing, and it's just a mess. So it's interesting. So what sports do you follow, Justin? Are you into football proper? I'll say.
Nah, I'm not really into any team sports. I've always been a fan of extreme sports, so snowboarding,
okay.
boxing. So I wouldn't say I follow any of it. I don't really have time to follow any sports, but I always find it entertaining watching the stuff on TV. But
awesome. Do you have a particular favorite?
Probably snowboarding. Probably because I used to be into it
nice.
a while ago. I used to do it myself. So.
Oh, cool. Where do you snowboard in the UK, or did you go somewhere else to snowboard?
Well, we have a couple of dry ski slopes.
Okay.
So I used to do that, and then heading out to France and Austria.
Oh yeah, great. Yeah, you guys get Europe so close, so again you can take a little hop, skip, and a jump.
Exactly.
On EasyJet, right?
Oh god. Yeah. Well, EasyJet's better than Ryanair. So.
Hey, fair enough. Hey, when I was over in London and popping around Europe, EasyJet's, boom, get on it. $100 ticket, you're somewhere. So hey, why not? I mean,
nice.
You're packed in like a sardine, and it might not make it to the destination, but hey, at least you're gonna try. But for sure. Well, that's awesome. So yeah, how about we get into some news, guys? You guys
Sounds good.
Actually, before we do that, Justin, why don't you give everybody listening a quick overview of who you are, so they know who the heck that third voice is, because it's always different, and we want to know who this one is.
Okay, so I'm Justin French. I'm the creative director at a indie game studio called Dream Harvest. I came from a audio background, and then moved my way into game design, a bit of programming, still do audio, and now I run a cool game studio where we're making games for core gamers, so like hardcore games.
Yeah.
Now, well, I know we'll get into this in the interview, but currently you're working on Failure. Is that the only game that your studio's working on right now?
Yes. So Failure is the only game. We have a couple of other games in the backline, but this is our main project.
Awesome.
Well, it's for cool gamers, so cool. Like, right on. I like it. I think that's one of the best descriptions we've had so far, John.
Yeah, they don't program stuff for sucky gamers.
Yeah, just only cool gamers. If you're not cool, don't play it. Right on. All right, so let's get into some news. We have a decent amount of news this week. We're going to kind of continue with the Fallout talk right off the bat, because you know what, we got to talk about it. It's the most talked about thing in all of gaming right now, just from the good things, the bad things, the highs, the lows, to the hacks, to everything. But so Justin, you've been playing Fallout lately, and where are you at right now? How are things going in it?
I can't even remember, because I'm not even following the main story at the moment.
Yep.
I've just been exploring, and
who does that in a Bethesda game?
Exactly. It's I feel kind of bad though that I haven't been kind of following the story. I feel like I should be trying to find this my character's son, but at the same time I'm the world is so expansive that I just want to explore it all.
Yeah, you'll find him eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, when I always mention I put in like over 170 hours into Skyrim, and I platinumed it, got the platinum trophy and everything, and my last trophy for the game was beat the game. So I did every other thing beforehand, and then I was like, oh, I'm level 50. I guess I should do the story now. And then I mainlined the story in like 2.5 hours, 3 hours, and then the platinum trophy popped, beat the game. So there you go. So I feel you on playing it that way. Just kind of go and just do whatever. So are you liking it? Is it good? You enjoying it?
Yeah, it's really good. Really, really, really enjoying it. But
that's awesome. In a little stat for the UK listeners, it was actually, I think, the second most second highest release of all time in the UK for a game.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the people in over there, they did good on the sales. So there you go. I can't remember what the biggest release was. Yeah, I'll have to look it up. But
GTA possibly.
Yes,
GTA 5?
you're right. With GTA, well, I mean, Fallout actually passed GTA already on the all-time for concurrent players. I think we talked about it like last week.
Yeah, last week you mentioned that.
But yeah, I think you're right on the sales numbers was GTA for sure. So yeah,
Justin, are you a console gamer or a PC gamer? You're playing this on the PC?
I'm playing Fallout on the PC, but I play everything. I play on the. I've got an Xbox One, a PS4. I play everything.
Perfect. That's what I like to hear.
I guess you kind of have to due to the industry you're in.
Yeah.
You're forced to have all those consoles.
Uh-huh.
Exactly. I say forced.
Yeah, exactly.
My girlfriend doesn't think that though.
Yeah, exactly. Right. I lean. See, I like all. I like all games, all genres, but I definitely lean towards the PS4. But like, playing Xbox is cool with me. The only reason I lean towards the PlayStation originally is because I had a PS1, and then I didn't like the Xbox controllers, and I just don't like the way they felt, and so then I just kind of grew up with the PlayStation. But I still have definitely put my fair share of hours into an Xbox. You can like Madden. You played Madden on Xbox, period. Like growing up. So there's no other way around it. But yeah, so that's good. You're a console agnostic. I like to hear that. So
yeah.
So first item of news. Everyone's talking about Fallout and all the different things you can do in it, but this is kind of a Bethesda thing. But have you guys heard about the Fallout secret room in there? The typical the developer room. Well, yeah. So I played Skyrim, and there was one in there. So it's basically the developer console room where it has every item, every single thing in the game, and it's been discovered in Fallout now. And you just you can just put in. I'm going to say the code for everybody to listen to. It's COC space QA smoke. You put that in the console command, and then boom, you can get into the secret room with every item in Fallout.
Nice.
So boom, there you go. If you want to cheat, do that. Easy way. So now Justin's writing that down. Do it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I mean, like for me, it would ruin the whole game. Like, I think all the console commands for the game came out around the same time. Well, I think they're identical to the Skyrim ones.
They're very close. You're right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think using all of these cheats as soon as the game comes out, it just ruins the whole experience. Play the game once without using any cheats, enjoy it for what it is, and then your second playthrough. Then
that's what I'm on board with that, because there's so many people who just jump in the game and just put in a cheat engine or mod it right off the bat, and they don't really get to experience the game for what it is, even how good or how bad it is. To experience the game. And like I said, I'm on board with you. I like to play the game slowly, thoroughly, just knock it out, just squeeze every ounce out of it first, and then I'll just go blow stuff up and mess with it and have fun with it later.
Yeah, the one story I saw, that Major League Baseball was upset that there was that David Ortiz.
Yeah, that mod.
Yeah.
For sure, yeah, they were all mad. I mean, people are already modding like crazy, but actually, that'd be kind of funny. I think I saw some video and some screenshots of it. It looked kind of cool, but yeah. So hey, if you want to cheat, you can already cheat in Fallout. Boom, right off the bat. So yeah. So I guess you're gonna wait on that until you finish your playthrough right now. So at your pace is gonna be like 120 hours later, though. Seems like
probably,
yeah. But see, you play it just the same way I do. So like I said, it took me at least 120 hours to even test Skyrim. It's same thing in Oblivion. I put 100 plus into that. I mean, I'm a big Bethesda guy, so.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, with Skyrim, I've put 125 hours in, and I haven't finished the story yet.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And you can easily do that, and I guess Fallout is exponentially more than that. So, yeah, man. So. Cool. Moving on. So Mark Cuban, the billionaire kind of crazy mogul guy, the host of co-host of Shark Tank and all that stuff. So he wants to play League of Legends. So that news story was pretty interesting, I thought. So the Intel Extreme Masters in San Jose. So it's a game tournament. It has League of Legends and Counter-Strike. So it's a big tournament, 150,000 on the line, and a lot of the money goes to CyberSmile charity. It's a nonprofit that helps prevent cyberbullying. Well, he sent a tweet out asking the event and the host to, hey, can I play? So he wants to play League of Legends in it, and everyone was like, oh my god, that's crazy. Mark Cuban wants to do this. He's into gaming, and so it's pretty interesting. Like gaming is now permeating even billionaires and owners of Philadelphia 76ers and entrepreneurs alike. So
Dallas Mavericks.
Yeah, Dallas Mavericks. That's right. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, what like I don't know. Like I think like more people like this getting into gaming is kind of because everyone knows that we always talk about this, that gaming is kind of it's mainstream, but it's still taboo. It's like still like you can't say, oh, I'm a gamer, and people still look at you a little weird. You're still. I don't know how you feel about that, Justin, but that's in the U.S. That's how it is totally.
Yeah, in the UK, it's still similar to that. I mean, I don't have many friends that are gamers, but I think it's changing. It has been changing for quite a while, especially as the age group has moved up as well. I mean, the average age of gamers now is 35, I think.
Perfect. There you go. That's I'm 30, so that's good. And I think. John is in that age group as well. He's 37. Yeah, so it's again, we grew up with games, so like we were the first generation to actually do it. And now we're kind of moving on, and so before that, the generations they didn't have games to start with, they kind of fell into it. So, but it is more mainstream. So all of the people who grew up with it are like you are now creating games. So it is more mainstream and more kind of on a daily basis. So I think it's good, but it's kind of interesting to have someone big like that come in and say, hey, like let me participate in this, let me play some games with you guys. So,
but I mean, it's not the easiest of games for him to try and pick up if he's never played it.
A slight learning curve there in a MOBA. But, but hey, he says I'm in the tweet read, hey, I'm ready. Can I play? ? And he tweeted at the Intel Extreme Masters and everything. So, maybe he plays it. I mean, maybe he's on the low he plays it. Fair enough. Like I said, like it's not like he's gonna go play like some simple game, but it's you're jumping into like one of those games with like all the people. They'll troll you pretty hardcore at an event that's supposed to go against cyberbullying. So yeah. Because I got into Dota a while back, and I played Dota 2 pretty for about 6 months, like pretty hardcore, like at least 3 games a night for a while there. I mean, it was just like what I did, and the learning curve is steep. But once you figure it out, it's good. But I mean, and then like I even felt myself getting upset when someone on my team wasn't like holding their own, especially like, I mean, I never like cuss them out or whatever they do, but it'd just be like, okay, don't deal with them anymore, because Dota games or League of Legends games are like 30 to 45, 50 minutes long minimum. Whew. So like, if you're dedicating that much time to like a one match, and if something goes wrong downhill, just because so people get really frustrated. And so it's not like
I think Cuban also. I was just thinking of this. He probably wants to play just maybe not necessarily because he's a gamer, which he probably is, but he probably wants to see the mechanics of it. I mean, he sold broadcast.com. Like he was kind of like the first person to sort of stream video over the internet.
Yep.
So this is just another sort of step in that direction, seeing, hundreds of thousands of people playing a game at once online. So that's really got to pique his interest, I'm sure.
Of course. The businessman in him is like, hey, what's going on? So,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, he just wants a piece of the pie, really.
Right. And again, MOBAs are so hard to get into. The only reason that another MOBA showed up is because Blizzard is huge, so that's why Heroes of the Storm is doing okay. But any other people who've tried to get into it have just gotten squashed by Dota and League. I mean, there's nothing. Valve and Riot, they own the marketplace, but luckily with Blizzard's pull and the quality games they make, they've allowed themselves to carve out a decent space in the whole MOBA scene. So yeah, but it's interesting to see kind of how someone mainstream like that. But again, you bring up a good point, John. Like maybe this is a business move.
Yeah, he's probably just wants to check it out firsthand and just kind of maybe play or just see the mechanics of it and stuff. Because he's on Shark Tank too. So I mean,
yeah,
and obviously he sees all kinds of pitches, even not on Shark Tank. So he's probably just kind of keeping his ear to the ground. Why are people keep
pitching me about video game platforms and this and that? What about new streaming services? What is this? Yeah, exactly. Now, for sure, we shall see. All right, so we talk. I mean, John, you know that we're into football, and Justin, you like extreme sports. Either one of you guys into fighting at all?
Like fighting games?
Like fighting, period. Like in boxing, UFC, judo.
I used to play those quite a bit, even though, after.
Not even watching like the real sports.
No, I never really got into watching the real sports now.
Okay, Justin, what about you? Boxing?
Now and again. Well, a tiny bit of boxing. If there's a big match, I'll watch it. A tiny bit of UFC.
Mm-hmm.
I used to do karate when I was a kid.
Right. I did taekwondo.
That's only because you wanted to be a ninja when you grew up, right, Justin?
Right.
Exactly.
I only said that because we're all in kind of the same age bracket.
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
everyone took karate when they were a kid because they want to grow up and be a ninja.
Yep.
I know.
The Three Ninjas.
It's exactly. But exactly. The Three Ninjas. That was a classic film. It was awful. But then you end up growing up and realizing that actually karate isn't the fighting style that ninjas use.
No.
Right.
it's not. Nope. Yeah. So fighting is something that I've actually, being an athlete and like football player, in the States and everything, everyone wants to be tough and wants to be a fighter. So everyone likes to watch UFC, and that's the UFC craze has been going on for about 5-6 years now over here, and it's crazy. Everyone thinks they can be a fighter. Well, I could watch a match or two here and there. I could say I was never really into it, but Shauna, John, if you didn't know, she is an ex-fighter. So
no kidding.
She's an ex-judo champion, so she likes fighting a lot. And she's pretty dang tough, I might add. So, if
why did she take out that cop? He's giving you a hard time.
She was thinking about putting him in a chokehold and an arm bar real quick, but she probably could have in like 2 seconds. But yeah, if we mess around, just like, hey, I actually have to like work. I'm like, okay, hold on. No,
yeah.
You can't leave an arm out or a leg out, or she'll get into something weird that I've never heard. So she's really into fighting. So, so the Ronda Rousey fight was this weekend.
Oh, yeah.
And she actually trained with Ronda, about 10, 15 years ago when Ronda was real young. But yeah, so Ronda got beat down, and it was amazing. I never thought it would happen. But Holly Holmes just knocked her out, just clean, cold cocked her with a foot right to the side of the head, a left kick, and it was just amazing. Like the biggest upset in UFC history, because Ronda is unstoppable. I think the average of her match length is for the last 6 matches has been 32 seconds because she just knocks chicks out. Whoa. Yeah, she's insane. Well, Ronda, this is her first loss, and the day before the fight, EA announced her as the cover athlete of UFC 2, their second UFC game.
Oh man, they're probably never mind.
Yeah, exactly. So the article, is I don't think, it's really, really funny. They were like, we're gonna explore options, blah blah blah. But it's twofold. It's put our foot in our mouth. That sucks. That's a big hit for our UFC game because now everyone's on the hate Ronda Rousey train. Yeah. But and B, it's the Madden curse, dude. It's the
exactly. Yeah, That's exactly what I was gonna say.
You've heard of the Madden curse, right, Justin?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's happening. EA, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Just leave people off the cover.
Yes. Just don't put any. Just put a ball or a glove. Yeah, exactly. Just put a football on the front, and then put a boxing glove on the front. Don't put any person because you ruin their careers.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I thought that was funny, but actually. There was a follow-up article this morning that I checked out, and there was an official statement from EA that says that Ronda will remain as the cover athlete regardless of her loss. I was going to say
that would be nasty if they did that.
They've done stuff like that before, though. So because it wasn't in stone, it wasn't official, but they made the announcement on Friday, the day before her fight, and yeah, so they've done shady.
Next time they need to wait until Monday.
Exactly right. It is EA though; they have a huge pull; they can do whatever they want. So even if they said screw it, people would be like, oh, that sucks, but. It's EA, so
yeah.
But yeah, so there was an official statement that she will be remaining on the So I thought that was kind of funny, but yeah. So just I guess if you're going to be a fighter or you're going to be any other athlete, and EA says, "Hey, here's $10 million to go on the cover," and you want to keep playing your sport, don't do it.
Yep, turn it down.
Don't
do it. Whatever you do,
you'll make more money in the long run.
Exactly, and yeah, you'll be able to walk, or your career will be good, and something, because it's always some crazy injury or something happens. It's crazy. So, well, there you go. I thought this was kind of cool. So, moving on to the next story. So Microsoft, they are in the development business of developing new software tools. So you guys know that humans are extremely. There's been psychological and research about how well we can do facial recognition, right? Like our brains are wired for facial recognition. We're very, very good at perceiving kind of emotions through the face, and same thing in games. That's one of the hardest things in game development, as you guys know, is making humans look human, right? Because people can see something that doesn't look human very well, but an environment, they're like, oh, it looks great. But if it's human, if you're making a person, they're like, oh, wait, something's off. It doesn't walk right. It doesn't look right. Well, Microsoft is now, has the beginning stages of a new tool that can determine emotions through faces, both in video games and in pictures and video. So I thought it was pretty cool. Did you guys hear about that at all and check it out and see it?
Yeah, it sounds quite interesting. I mean, it's this type of tech has been used quite a bit in advertisement, actually.
Right.
A lot of market research companies have been getting rooms of people in and then showing them adverts, and then using facial recognition and emotion recognition software to judge the response from the crowd to the advertisement. So it's quite interesting to see Microsoft playing around with this, because I don't know if you remember a while back when Microsoft was talking about using the Kinect camera to read people within their rooms
and lock, to see what's in.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of scary when you think about it. Now they're potentially going to integrate this technology into their systems, and what are they really going to be using it for?
Microsoft Skynet.
Yeah, for sure. Well, actually, my computer has a facial recognition lock, so I can just look at my computer and it can recognize my face and unlocks without me putting my password in.
All that makes me think of is what is that movie, Minority Report? It's like pre-crime stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So there's going to be cameras all over the place.
That's a good movie.
Eventually.
I like that movie.
And then a bank is going to be robbed, and then you're going to be caught on a camera near that bank, and they're going to use this, emotional stuff and be like, that guy looks guilty. Let's nab him.
Oh, see, and that's true. Actually, it's crazy. Well, I mean, because computers have been trying to do this for a while, like Justin mentioned in advertising, but they're not that good at it. But I guess this new tool they've done is actually pretty robust, and it's starting to be developed and getting pretty good. And there's actually a demo of it on the link. I actually checked it out and tried it. It's kind of fun. But so it analyzes right now the 8 core emotional states based on science. So the 8 states were anger, contempt, fear, disgust, happiness, just a neutral phase, sadness, and surprise. So those are the core emotions that it can recognize and that are common to the human element. So that's pretty cool.
Mm-mm.
So yeah,
I think all this the technology is cool, but the other side of me is nothing good is going to come of this. Eventually, all these things are going to converge. When the iPhone first came out, and people were doing that when the Siri came out. The first time Siri came out, and everyone's like, "Hey, where do I bury a body?" And they're all laughing because she, answered the question. And I told one of my friends, I took computer science in college, and
it stores your response.
I was like, listen, this is probably way out there, and I'm being insane, but I was like, there's going to be a day where someone's going to break into where your GPS is being stored. They're going to break into where you just asked that question, and now you're going to be framed for a murder you never committed.
Yep.
People are going to locate you at anywhere they want. They're going to have this record of you asking that question. I was like, I wouldn't be saying that into my phone.
The ultimate conspiracy theory, John.
Exactly. That's totally how I roll. So
yeah, for sure. Well, I think we've talked so many times about the different. You remember the what was it? I think it was a few episodes back where we discussed the questions that Riot was asking. They're trying to find metrics and data on players, on just psychological tests on players to see how they're gonna react. And so basically, if you and think about it, when you go to the gym, they scan your fingerprint on the gym, or now Siri, now the new iPhones, you put your thumbprint on the thing. You have a profile. It's built in a database, and they know who you are. They know what you click on. They know your IP address. Mm-hmm. They know how many times you search. They know what you like. They know how you like. Think about how many times you go to Google and type Google something in, and Google knows exactly what you're saying by one word. They're like, wait, what? How did you know I was going to say whatever? It's insane. You want to type in a 5-word phrase, and you type in the, and the 5-word phrase is the next answer. It doesn't make any sense. It's because the metrics they have on your profile, and this is now they can store your facial expressions. Oh no. Oh boy. It is the ultimate Big Brother. So
Yeah, no, seriously,
It's true.
It's,
It's just going to get worse over the next few years, isn't it?
Oh, totally. Well, I think it's honestly, I mean, if we're going down that rabbit hole, might as well let's dive deep. I think, I mean, shoot, like, it's already happened. It's already happening. It's just, it's not out for consumer knowledge. Like, do you think the government is not doing this already? Do you think Minority Report in its own current, 2015 concoction isn't going on? Like, I saying these profiles that I'm talking about, like, Google is like the information gathering hub of the earth. And you think the government doesn't tap into Google and say, hey, give us some of this? And Google's like, sure, give us like $4 million and we'll, for this information. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's just like they know things about everybody. And so like you can't get away with anything anymore. And
yeah, no, I joked with my wife like a year or two ago, and I was like, Google probably knows you better than I do.
Oh yeah, totally.
Because like I was like, Google knows because she has an Android phone. It's like they know everywhere you go. They know everything you type into your instant message to your friends. They know everything you search for. They know every website you go to. I was like, they know your habits way better than I could ever know, probably.
They know how fast you click on a link to go to the next page, or they know how long you spend on an article. They know which articles you spend more time on. They know, because I use these metrics for my company, like for RaptorCow when we're doing like marketing and everything. We use those metrics ourselves, and I can track those myself. So imagine what Google can do with resources that are a lot more than my company. It's just like,
yeah, exactly.
It's interesting because there's actually there's a British TV series called Black Mirror. I don't know if either of you have seen it, but or any of the listeners.
Should I?
But you should watch it. It's really interesting.
Black Mirror,
it's all about how. Yeah, it's all about how technology can kind of, or how technology has helped us and could hinder us in the future. And there was one episode in there where this wife, she loses her husband. He dies in a car crash, and she's contacted by this company that can create a virtual avatar, a virtual version of her husband based off his social media profiles, and it scans every photo of him, scans every single bit of internet data about him, and then creates this kind of virtual version of him. And it's crazy. I mean,
I don't like horror movies.
But it's just one episode. It's actually like the wife obviously starts to see the holes in the virtual representation of him, but the large majority of him is actually the way he used to be. But obviously, what they were trying to put across was that actually what we show on social media, what we show through the internet, isn't necessarily the true us. It's a part of us. It's a one version of us. It's the best of us, maybe. Sometimes.
Yeah, that's certainly true for, I would say, most people.
Yeah, I agree with that. Have you guys seen the movie Transcendent with Johnny Depp?
No.
It's not a great movie, but it's based on that. It's where Johnny Depp, he's a computer programmer type dude, and it's kind of set in the near future where nanomachines are like a thing, and he contracts like a terminal disease and whatever. And I don't want to spoil the movie. Spoilers, everybody, if you're listening and haven't seen it. But basically, the crux is that of the future of being able to download your consciousness into a computer system.
Okay.
Because again, our brains are just a bunch of wires and neurons firing and electrical signals. So why wouldn't you be able to put it into a computer and download it if you had a large enough data storage? And then being able to create that and have a living consciousness within a computer machine. And it's pretty interesting how that goes there. And like same thing, like they found holes in it. It's like, wait, that's not him. Like it just kind of got weird because like, the brain of the person had, access to now like computer type stuff. So it had even more power, and it kind of just started growing, and it got weird and crazy, but it was true. It was like there was holes in who this person was because of that, and it's like the pieces of information we gather, even if you do that, is still going to be not the true us. It's like it's like, where do we lose our humanity? Are we just numbers and data, or are we actually people with conscience? It's weird. Now that I'm all creeped out, guys. Shoot, let's talk about something
Another
fun.
data gathering news.
Right, exactly. In other news, satellites can know what you're doing in the bathroom. What? That's true. Actually, they do have satellites that can read your newspaper in the bathroom, so that's crazy.
Sweet.
Yeah, awesome. I'll make sure I read something good for them. Yes, this is more sales data news because I'm a fan of Starcraft, and I think I'm one of these million people. But within the first 3 days, StarCraft sold 1 million copies. Pretty awesome. Yeah, like it's a huge milestone. Just, again, from the 10th to the 13th on the launch day, 1 million copies, and it's growing exponentially since then. So StarCraft is doing very, very well.
Here's a slightly, not maybe slightly off topic, but...
That's fine. Keep going. Let's do it.
Seeing these sales of these games, this is like, these kinds of numbers are like what... movies we'll see in a weekend. Like, I was reading a story the other day about Beyonce when she released her album in 2013, how she didn't release any singles. She didn't, do any sort of marketing with her label up until the date that she released the album. All she did was posted like one picture on Instagram announcing her new album. And in one day, she sold like 80,000 copies. Now we're talking about StarCraft, and in one day they're doing 1 million.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, that's crazy. Like, the music industry, I don't really know what's going on there, but you look at these video game releases, and it's like, man, they're hammering any artist releases,
Oh, yeah. I would say in the entertainment, video games have passed music. Like,
I mean, that's why Paul McCartney, like I said, like a few episodes ago, how he did all the music for Destiny. Like, this is why he did it. Like, Destiny's selling millions and millions of copies, and if he released an album on iTunes, he'd sell like 100,000.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So it's like, wow.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, here's a sales number, and just for anyone listening, this may be a future boss battle question. Mm-hmm. But this is I always look at the ESA reports, from just to kind of seeing what is out there every year. They put a report on the whole gaming industry and the electronic software industry, right? In 2014, as the report was compiled, this came out in July. But in America they spent I think it's nationwide. I was looking at it, but it's $22.41 billion.
Wow.
Of games. 22.41 billion. Yes, that's Americans.
Whew.
Yeah.
Man.
And that's consoles, virtual like downloads,
yeah,
and peripherals, controllers, etc.
Yeah.
But still $22.41 billion. And that's up from every year, because in 2012 it was 20.2. 2013 it was 21, now it's 22.41. So it's going up about $1 billion a year. Like, what? Like, it's insane.
Man. Oh, it's madness, yeah.
Yeah, and so, like, if anyone says, again, we always talk about the mainstream. If anyone says gaming isn't mainstream, I mean, just look at these numbers that are going off. I think every week, now it's the end of the year, so, like, games are coming out, and it's awesome. But every year, or every week, there's some new sales figure that's, like, crazy. Like, Metal Gear sales numbers, and now StarCraft sales numbers. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. So,
wow.
1 million copies in 3 days, and, again, that's just... Yeah, I'm not sure if that coincides with the international release, because again, like I said, in Asia, obviously, and in Korea, where StarCraft is played religiously, it's just going to keep going. It's going, because I was one of those 1 million people, so yeah, here's my money.
Yeah, same here.
Yes, I haven't really had a chance to play it yet, too busy, but when I do, you play StarCraft, Justin?
Yeah, no, I was one of those pre-orders as well. I haven't touched it though yet.
Same. No, I'm absolutely the same. I'm moving, busy, work. There's no time. But when you play, let's play, because we'll get on it together for sure. Because I'm an old StarCraft head, and like I said, I haven't played it really since I played the last iteration a little bit for the first 6-8 months, and then I just fell off. But I'm excited to get back into it and complete the StarCraft II story, and then play online. So yeah, what is your race of choice?
Probably the Terran.
Yeah, the Terran.
Yeah.
I am a Zerg player, so I like those crazy guys. Yeah.
I tried playing a Zerg. I just couldn't get into the sort of way you have to play with them.
Like the creep and everything.
Yeah. I just didn't get it. Well, I didn't really get it.
Yeah,
I'm not that good at an RTS player. My Pilcho is much better. He's really into his StarCraft. Me, I'm a casual RTS player.
So yeah, like as everyone knows, I was a hardcore RTS player. Like that was probably the first game genre on computers, or like when I was older, that kind of, you got that obsessive feeling. where you're like, you can't stop playing it. Yeah, I played the original Warcraft, like Orcs and Humans, like on DOS, the old one. Yeah, and
that was a classic game.
I must have dumped half of my childhood into that game. Like I played, and then after that I was hooked. So I played everything: Command and Conquer. I played, just but Warcraft, Starcraft, Age of Empires, Empire Earth, every single RTS I'd get my hand on, like Total War series. I was just RTS crazy, and so that's still my favorite genre. But like I said, about in 2007 they kind of fell off. 2008 they kind of disappeared, and now they're making a resurgence with the game we're going to talk about soon, right?
Oh yeah.
All right, let's finish out this news segment because I want to get into talking about your game and you, Justin. So the last quick couple bits of news, we're going to hit this one quick. Actually, this might be longer. Sorry, John, but with our expertise, John, this is kind of right in our wheelhouse about crowdfunding. So,
yeah,
I think we talked about it. Remember that new crowdfunding campaign, Fig, or that crowdfunding platform, Fig, that actually lets people invest directly into games?
Yeah, it's strictly for video games, right?
Yeah, and it allows you actually to get equity into the game, and besides it making
Yep.
Yeah, and so it's kind of a novelty platform. Well, and they're very selective. They don't run a lot of campaigns. They run one at a time. Well, they launched back in August of last year, and their first game was $125,000 goal, a successful game. Got good reviews, everything. It hit the goal, cool, no problem, right? And then people could put in equity. I think the minimum investment was like $1,000. They do like a credit check and all this stuff, but you get percentage of sales of the game. So this is more of an investment, not just here's money to make your game, and if it comes out great, right? Well, their second game may not get funded, and it may fail like miserably. So
that sucks.
It's got 2 days left and needs $350,000. Yeah, their goal was $500,000, and not that great. It's called Anchors, and it's kind of a free-to-play role-playing game. So,
okay.
Yeah. So
that's the first issue there, though. It's really hard to crowdfund a free-to-play game.
Exactly.
Yeah, because here I'm going to invest into a game that's free to play. Like, to most people that doesn't make sense. They're like, well, there's no way to make money, so why should I put money to this game?
Well, I think what they're doing, what they're offering is like percentage of the microtransactions and like all those kind of stuff.
That would be a mess.
Right, exactly what I'm saying is like their model is not sound. So this platform Fig, it's like a novelty thing. They select the game and they contact investors and make this official investing platform, but they didn't contact you and I, John. Where's their business strategy team? Where's their marketing team? Where's their crowdfunding team?
Exactly.
You have good investment and you understand that, but we would have been like, no, and a $500,000 goal, especially for this, and then on top of your previous one, which is 125 that you guys successfully did. I mean, you're going to jump right to 500,000.
I know.
Who is talking to them? Who's their business dev person? They should be fired.
Yeah, no, it's not. And they only run one at a time, right?
Yeah, exactly. And they select it, and it takes like a process and like a vetting thing. Yeah, so it's like a thing.
Yeah. So I think they just chewed up a month of their time. Where they could have actually raised money for something that would have been successful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I think one of the other issues with the Fig platform is that it's only open to American investors.
Yep. At this time,
Yeah. So, and obviously there's a massive group of other investors around the world that would be interested.
I think they actually, now for the second game, they might have opened it to Australia and in England. That's coming up now, or at least that's their plan. Yeah, I think that's their plan. But you're totally right. They first came out American only, and like you said, if you open it to Europe at all, and then even Australia, there's investors who would definitely go into it, and people would do that. I mean, but I just think like a free to play game, not so much. Asking 500,000, and then just their model, it's not right. I don't know. So. Hey, looks like this little startup might not do so well, but
or they need to get better at choosing what games they launch, out of the gate.
That's the number one thing too. So hey, if you guys are listening, Fig, call us. We will help you. We'll fix that mess. Seriously. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, because like I said, they've had a month, right? I think they've got 100 and something thousand, 150,000 so far, but it's okay, your goal was 500, and people like to see the goal reached. and gold.
Right.
That judges their investment level, especially with something that's investing. That gauges their success on investment. So if you're a VC or an angel investor, right, you want to go in your typical model is like, hey, I want to see 5 times return in 3 years or 10 times return in 5 years. That's the base model for any VC and an angel investor, right? So if you're coming into something like this and right off the gate, you don't reach a numbers goal right off the bat, and I'm putting in money and I see, you get, a certain percentage below the goal, I'm like, okay, I'm pulling out right away.
Like market doesn't want this.
Yeah, exactly. You can see that right away. And so it's just like, they're shooting this game in the foot before it even starts too. And so even if this game could have been the next best thing, like, and the people who made Anchor's Drift, they're like, oh yeah, we're on Fig, they're going to help us get investors, it's going to be great. They might have been better off just crowdfunding their own game.
Exactly.
So or just trying to bootstrap it or whatever.
They should have tried bootstrapping that thing.
Yeah, for sure. Which is tough. It is, but at least you don't get the negative publicity as this, because now they're always going to be remembered as this game. Oh, exactly. If they do become successful and they want a round and they want to create a studio and they want to do a round of funding, right? These investors are going to be like, oh, wait, why didn't you get investment in this first round? Nope, we're out. So yeah. Well, not good, but hey, we'll see what happens. Again, they have a couple days. Maybe something will happen. Maybe a big investor will come in and just kind of drop maybe 300,000. Right?
Like
rich uncle or something.
Yeah, that's the thing with Fig. I mean, since hearing about it last year or whenever it came out, I haven't heard about it again.
Exactly.
In media.
Exactly.
It's been dead in the water in my case. It sounded so exciting when they first announced it. It was an alternative way of crowdfunding your games, but it just doesn't seem to have been properly marketed and properly driven to consumers and potential investors.
Yeah, we talked about it on the podcast about when it first came out. We're like, yeah, seemed interesting. I mean, John had a good take on it. We were intrigued by it, kind of a little skeptical, but just intrigued. But yeah, other podcasts talked about it, like the Giant Bombcast and Giant Beastcast. They went in detail about it, and like I said, it's intriguing. But like I said, you're right. It's the newest thing that's big that we haven't heard about. So
yeah.
So now we're going to breeze over these last 2 stories pretty quick. We always got to touch on some VR stuff, so we're going to do that. Hey, you can play Dungeons and Dragons in VR. Yay!
Nice.
So
cool.
That's awesome, right? So I guess Wizards of the Coast backed it. It started as like a typical game jam, right? And Wizards of the Coast, they got a hold of it and they say this is great. Now they're backing it. So
I think that takes away from the essence of Dungeons and Dragons, though.
Right. Well, I think maybe it's more of, hey, you can play D&D with friends that aren't with you.
Yeah, that's true.
So
you could do that on Skype.
Right. Exactly. Oh, you know what? That's totally true too. You really could, but I guess with the VR experience, it's like a virtual game board and everything, and so virtual dice, and
Yeah.
But the essence, I think you're right, is the physical touching the dice and having your character sheets and thumbing through 15 pages of manuals.
You got to have 25 books open, and you know.
You got to have your freaking atomic calculator out to calculate all the damage.
Exactly.
Well, I don't know. So that's kind of cool. So just that's your quick VR minute of the John and Ted's Excellent Gamecast that we always have to touch on because that's the new thing, right? The new hotness.
Oh, yeah.
So, all right. So, I guess the last news story, it's a little bit kind of rough. So, I guess everyone knows what happened in Paris. So, it's terrible. So, Paris, we're thinking about you guys over here. And again, that's a rough deal. And nobody likes to hear about that. But there was a news story out of here that it's kind of... I don't really like hearing, because when something tragic like this happens, people need to have blame. They need to blame somebody or have a reason why. They need to understand, because without closure, that's the human element. We need closure. We need to understand things. 'Cause if we don't, it's miserable. It's like a prison, right? So I guess there was a story that ran in Forbes. Did you guys read about that? About how the Air reporting that?
Yeah.
What did you hear about it, Justin?
So obviously, they were saying that potentially PlayStation 4s were used for the terrorists to communicate with each other, but then it was retracted, and it was the original story was actually set before the terror attacks in Paris over the weekend. I think, to tell you the truth, any type of communication platform that's somewhat secure will potentially be used by a terrorist group. You've got the whole onion network, the dark net as well.
Exactly.
That you use to communicate with people. There's so many different ways that people can communicate without it being tracked by other people. It's PlayStation 4 is just another form of that. And to me, it became kind of a bit of a moot point. Like, who cares what they were using to communicate with each other? Like, the point is that the atrocious acts happened. Mm-hmm. Now, how did they? I think the more important question is how did they? Why wasn't something done? Why wasn't the security sectors in France actually tracking these people?
Right.
What information did they have? I think that's more important than a PlayStation 4 is used.
Sounds like the writer of Forbes has someone that works for Microsoft.
Right, or something like that.
Exactly.
Honestly, I don't know, but it was rough because, again, like, I think you're on the point with that, because it's a terrible black mark on, like, Sony. They're like, wait, what? But
it's like was that really necessary?
But it totally wasn't malicious. It was just a poor mistake. But what Justin was saying is, like, about the platform is, I don't think it's nobody cares about, like, who. What platform it is on. I think why people care is because, like, well, if we knew what it was on, then we could stop it, or maybe they should have done something. They can point a blame. Why didn't they look at it and stop it? So I do get what you're saying, though. It's like, hey, it's like, it doesn't matter. It still happened. What are the authorities? What are they doing to find this platform, to find whatever medium they're using to communicate? But the platform itself is, people are going to use it because it's a secure thing. Why weren't the people who were responsible monitored, and then you can see what they were using? Because, like I said, it's not the platform's fault. The platform doesn't make it. They don't make some things to be for terrorist actions.
Right.
They make a secure way to do it because that's what they're doing for their business model, whatever they're doing. So it's not like they're going out and creating this. Yeah.
Plus on top of that, I mean, by the time they find out what was used for the communications, the terrorists or whoever the people were, they'll move to another platform. They'll always be one step ahead. There's so many different ways to communicate in our world today that everything is a possible route to organized terrorism.
Oh yeah. So I'm gonna read a quote from it. Like, so the Home Affairs. The minister for the Belgian Federal Home Affairs, he outright said that the agents could communicate, and this is his quote. He says, PlayStation 4 is even more difficult to keep track of than WhatsApp, he said, when talking about terrorists using things to use, right? And so, but the Forbes article writer, and he had to retract it, these comments were made, like you said, 3 days before the Paris attacks on November 10th. And so it's just like, wow, and it's just amazing how they knew this too, but they weren't monitoring, again, like I said, the people who are on the hot list. What are they using? What's going on? Like, it's not the PlayStation 4's fault. Now PlayStation 4's network is secure. Why? Because they've been hacked before, so of course they're going to have a secure network. So like, that's actually kind of good on the PlayStation that they've made a network that's so secure, right?
Yeah, it's almost for poor PlayStation. It's almost like damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah, exactly.
It really is. So I thought that was interesting because the writer of the article is like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't read, I misinterpreted the quote. Well, yeah, that's a pretty big misinterpretation because the stats on this was there's 475,000 page views. Yeah, and then within the article, like I said, I'm sure you guys read the one I linked to you guys. It spelled out how an attack plan could even be made in Super Mario Maker's coins and shared privately with a friend.
Yeah, Minecraft.
With Minecraft, all these things. It's like, oh my god, like really, like, and just to be able to point a finger like that, like, man, like I don't know what Sony's PR is going to do, but if they have some legs to stand on to get some sewage action right there, like, whew, that's not good at all. So anyway, hey, any other news stories, guys?
Oh, let's end on that note.
I know, right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, so I guess that's it for news. But before we get out of here for a quick break, just a quick rundown. Justin, we're going to do an interview of you here in a bit, and we're going to do the hard journalist questions, and John's
looking forward to it.
John's going to run you through the gambit. And so, we have Justin French here, and the creative director at Dream Harvest Games. And so right after the break, we're going to get into his interview. So we're going to take a quick break, guys. Hey, we're back. Hi. How's the break?
Whew.
Good? You guys stretch
Good,
ways,
good.
go run a couple laps?
I just cracked the encryption that PS4 is using, so
Oh, nice.
it's no longer secure.
Oh, see, so they can't blame him anymore. Fair enough. So, yes, like everyone knows who's listening so far, we have Justin French here, the creative director of Dream Harvest Games. Awesome. Welcome. Happy to have you here,
Thank you.
Justin. Happy to dive
to be
into
here.
what's going on and your game that you're going to talk about that you're working on for your studio. Your first
Yep.
big game for it is called Failure. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, bit of a controversial name, but
Right. Hey,
it's,
you know what? I like it. And we're going to talk about that. So, John here is the journalist on staff, and he's going to get you. So, without further ado, John, take it away with the interview.
Hey, Justin, thanks for coming on. You've made it this far, so that's good.
Yeah, it's been good so far. So
So we talked before before the podcast started, but for everyone listening, kind of start us off like how did you had quite the interesting road, but how did you get into this industry? What was it, a game that you were just like, okay, this is what I want to be doing, or what got you to where you are now?
I think when I was really young, I always wanted to get into games. I think I designed my first game when I was about 12 or 13, and
wow.
but then I kind of lost interest because I didn't realize that. Well, at the time I wanted to get into games, but I couldn't get in because of I didn't want to learn programming. So I forgot about
that's
that.
a problem.
Yeah, that's a little bit of an issue.
Exactly. Yeah, so I ended up going into audio. I studied sound design and audio engineering at uni. Ended up
Nice.
working in the music industry for a few years, and then I was lucky enough to get a gig, freelance gig at a place called Side. Now, for people that don't know who Side are, they are one of the biggest producers of dialogue for the games industry. So they work on loads and loads of AAA games. One of the big ones they worked on recently was The Witcher 3. They just did.
Nice.
Amazing game if you guys haven't played it yet.
Very nice.
Star Wars: The Old Republic. They were one of the studios that were involved in that. Warhammer Space Marine. So I got the chance to work on a lot of games while I was working with them. And after that, I ended up freelancing, doing sound design and music production for a load of small indie studios. And things didn't really work out that well with those studios. They weren't like the most organized bunch, which is kind of an issue with a lot of the indie scene. And I thought, well, what the hell? Why don't I start my own studio? I'd try and find a really good group of people to work with. And I did. And 3 years later, we're here. And
Nice.
doing well, actually. I mean, I've got pretty much the same core team I've had for the last 3 years. And they're a really talented bunch, really talented bunch. And now I'm doing a real mixture of stuff. I mean, I'm still doing the sound. I'm doing game design. I'm doing all the business stuff. I'm doing all the marketing stuff.
Oh, so you're saying you're an indie studio? Gotcha.
Yeah,
Everything.
yeah.
Hey,
exactly.
when you're doing the audio for Side, what was the most interesting? I don't know if you guys got into this or not, but what is the most interesting sound that you designed? Using
That's
physical items or
for
whatever.
sure. Yeah, I always like to hear that kind of stuff.
So with Side, it was just dialogue. So we didn't do any
Okay.
sound design with
Okay.
but I can tell you that one of the most fun projects I worked on at Side was a Thomas the Tank Engine game. I don't know
Yeah.
if you heard of Thomas. Yes. So that was really good fun. I cracked up a lot while we were working on that. But yeah, I mean, for sound design work, oh god, that's a hard question. What have I done that's weird?
Because I know, for as an example, the one thing that I always like hearing about was George Lucas when he came up with the sound for the blasters. He took a ball pin hammer against I can't remember the exact metal cord, but that's how he got the sound. He'd hit the hammer, a very specific hammer against that metal cord, and that's what gave the blaster shots.
Oh wow, yeah, I'd never actually read about that. That sounds really interesting.
Yeah,
But no, I don't know. I mean, One thing I love playing around with, I've got a thing called a coil mic, which records electrical signals as sound.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow.
And I love playing around with that, just trying to find new things to record. So I put it against my remote controls, which is the kind of standard thing. Then I put it against like keyboards and just anything electrical, light bulbs, and then just
That's
record
really
the sort of static sounds that it creates, and then combine those with all sorts of things. And yeah, I love it. It's a great little mic. It only cost me £15, so it's about
wow.
$25.
I never even heard of that.
I know. For sure.
They're really cool. Really, really cool.
That's
Best
cool.
buy ever.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So now you have your studio and you're working on the game Failure. Can you tell us about kind of what's behind the game and what's the mechanics of it and stuff like that?
What is it?
Okay, so Failure is a neon infused real-time strategy game. But it's got a really weird, blend of different mechanics in it. One of the things we try to do at Dream Harvest is we wanted to blend multiple genres together rather than doing stuff that everyone else has done. I think that's one of the issues in the indie scene at the moment, is that loads of studios are doing side-scrolling platformers or pixel art or there isn't
games or something.
Puzzle games, yeah. And so within Failure, it's an RTS at its core, but it has elements of like card battle games, kind of like Hearthstone. It has elements of God games. It has elements of tower defense games. And one of the key factors in the game is you don't control your units at all. You can only manipulate the world. Now, when I say manipulate the world, you can build buildings, and each building can create unit types.
Okay.
But you can also use things called functions, which is one of the script types that we give the player, that can actually change the shape of the world, can make areas of the world give certain buffs to your units or debuff your enemy units. But everything you place in the world can be positive or negative to both your team and the enemy team.
Okay.
So the whole so the whole game's about really careful timing of your plays, predicting. It's kind of like playing a really complex game of chess, but it's all real time. So it's
yeah. As the resident RTS extraordinaire, I guess I would say, as I've had a chance to mess around with it, and what he's saying is spot on for sure. Like I dinked around with, kind of the idea of, hey, your unit, you don't play with your units. You don't actually control your units, which is like a core element of RTS games, right? But there's some games that, like you play the old game Lemmings, right? Like where you kind of have to manipulate the world around them. It's kind of like that, but if the lemmings were killing other lemmings. So it's pretty awesome though. Like the amount of things that you can do that are all the different functions, they're so robust. And like again, when you use like the raised terrain thing, it really, you can create like walls, and like again, like you got to be careful with like putting a bomb down because it'll blow your units up and theirs. If you put a shield up and then your units aren't there, then it'll shield their units and then they'll push and gain territory.
Exactly.
So it's like it was really, really cool. So I figured that out quickly, like when and where and why to deploy all these functions, to put buildings down and like gaining territory. It's pretty cool. Like it visually looks cool, the music's cool, like, so what he's saying is like right on, and like I want to play more. And so
well, the cool thing is, like, I mean, the version you played only had 2 unit types in them.
The defenders and the regular standard units.
Yeah, the binaries, and the binaries are actually used as a resource to build your other units. But I think we've got plans for about 8 or 9 different unit types.
Awesome.
Which is going to really change things up, because each unit type has its own specific AI and its own behavior to the way it reacts with the way that you place things in the world.
That'll be cool.
It's going to be really interesting, really interesting.
With that being said, are you going to have 8 or 9 different building types? Or are you going to have more than one building type, and maybe you have to run a script or a function on top of a building to make it produce a different unit? Ooh. Okay,
so the really interesting idea that we've got is, and it's something that we're kind of putting into place over the coming weeks and months. You can actually construct your own scripts using a thing called the compiler, and what you do. Yeah, so this is a bit crazy. So the scripts are your abilities. So you've got ones that obviously do allow you to create buildings, and there are ones that allow you to affect the world. So constructs or functions. what you do is you collect code fragments to build your scripts, but you can then mod those scripts with effects that kind of increase the power or do certain things to those scripts. But then you can also build the different units and assign units to each script for each construct. So you could have in your deck of scripts that you bring into a level, you could have two of the same building, but they spawn different unit types, or they have different mods associated with them.
So basically, when you do the multiplayer, are everyone gonna have like the same compile of cards or decks, and you can just configure it however you want it? So it's like, hey, I had this compiling deck, and I attack you with these units, and so it's just going to be whatever someone brings to the table. Is that kind of the idea?
Not quite. Well, what happens is outside of multiplayer, the players will build their decks out of the scripts that they created in the compiler system. And so you could go into a match with someone that has completely different set of scripts.
Yeah.
But the way we matchmake people, the plan with the way we're going to matchmake people is that scripts will have power associated with them, depending on what mods are in them, which units are in them. And we will then be able to matchmake people based on the power of their decks. Because otherwise you're going to have a very unbalanced game. You might have someone that's just starting out who has really, really basic scripts, and then someone who's been playing for 10, 15 hours or more, who has super powerful scripts, and the game wouldn't be very, very fun for the person that's got the really weak scripts. So we have to find a way to balance the games.
Maybe you can make a full script mode, like one mode with like players who have every script available or everything available, so you could just like the whole sandbox, you just make the best deck and the best deck wins. That'd be kind of cool.
We had a similar idea actually for the tournament system. Which which obviously will allow us to balance the scripts much better. The thing is, like, the number of combinations there are between the scripts, the mods, and the units you can assign to the actual scripts. There's going to be hundreds of different combinations available to you. So there's a massive amount of customization that the player can do with their scripts. So building a full library with 1,000 scripts, we could do it, I guess. It would just take a long time to build your decks. I mean, it's like playing Hearthstone when you think about it. When you start building, your big decks in Hearthstone.
So can you break it down one more time? Like, okay, so all the different hierarchy, the data components, scripts, functions, units, build, like how do they work one more time? So people listening can really, really get it.
Okay, so what happens is, you will have a set of basic scripts. Those basic scripts will have units assigned to them.
And this is like what something in the game does. When you click on something, a script is like that, right?
Okay. I'll explain it a bit better.
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, I think people listening might be like, I don't understand the gameplay at all.
Exactly. That's what I was saying. Can you like break it down?
It's such a hard game. That's the thing. It's such a hard game to explain until you get your hands on it. Okay, so what happens is, before you go into a match, you build a deck of abilities. Currently, it's set to 6. So once you build your deck, you then go into the game with those abilities. You can have abilities that affect the world, and you can have abilities that allow you to build buildings that spawn units. And it's all about carefully balancing your decks on a per level basis, I would say, because different levels will allow you to, will have their own certain challenges, whether you're playing against someone else or whether you're playing against the AI.
Different topography, different resource nodes, all that stuff, right?
Exactly. So it's a matter of building several decks and then choosing the right deck for the level.
So what's the word for ability? Is it ability, or is it script, or is it what are you calling the word ability? Is that a function?
So we have scripts. Scripts can either be functions or constructs.
Okay.
Constructs are buildings, and functions are the player abilities.
Gotcha.
I would say.
There you go. Cool.
Yeah.
So Justin, what are you using to develop this game in? Are you using like a game engine, or are you guys doing it from scratch? How are you doing that?
So the original prototype was done by my programmer Milcho, where he coded his own engine completely from scratch for it.
Wow.
We then shifted development over to it was pretty mad of him. He was actually using it to get a job. He was because he was working for me for free, and he was trying to find his first job in the games industry while still working for Dream Harvest. And and he actually managed to get a job off it, which was quite cool. But we shifted development over to Unity just because it was easier for other team members to use. I mean, Unity's a great tool, but it meant that our artists can get involved. It meant that my designer could get involved. The problem with working with the engine that Milcher created was it was pure C++. So it would have been incredibly hard for anyone else other than him and Sven, my other programmer, to be able to work with. And for me, I'm really adamant that my designer should be fiddling with the with the settings. They should be tweaking things in engine. I like to implement my own audio assets, and I want my artists to be working in engine as well, rather than giving everything to the programmers to implement. I think that kind of defeats the point of an artist working on the art or an audio person working on the audio. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we use Unity, but we do a lot of custom graphics stuff. I mean, Sven is a graphics wizard, so he's a pleasure to work with.
Were you considering any other engines, or were you just like, all right, we have to use the engine, we're gonna use Unity?
I think we did kind of contemplate other engines, but I think because we all had pro licenses for Unity, it just made sense to.
Yeah, that makes the decision easier then.
Yep.
Yeah.
So since you're using Unity, do you plan on porting this thing out to Linux?
Yeah, so we already have plans to bring it to PC, Mac, Linux.
Nice.
Steam OS. And potentially some other platforms. We're in talks with some people about bringing it to some other platforms.
Nice.
Whether that happens or not, we're still not entirely sure. The most important thing for us is getting the controls right, making sure that they are really intuitive. Because we want to do VR as well. I experimented with the game on my Oculus DK2.
That's cool.
A while back.
Yeah,
it's really cool. It's really. I was going to say
cool. That game would be really cool. I'm not sure how you would control it. What
That's
you're thinking of? Yeah, but I can see visually moving around because again the maps aren't super crazy big, but again that lends itself to being able to see things happen. I think it'd be really great VR experience.
Yeah, I mean, and I haven't seen any VR RTS games anywhere.
Yeah, not yet, exactly, for sure.
What's the process like to get a game working on the Oculus? Like, what do you have to do?
In Unity, you literally just need to tick a box and it works.
Oh, it exports it out to the Oculus. Oh, okay. I didn't realize it had that option.
You can actually run it in real time from within the engine. So
how do you set the camera settings and everything? How do you do that?
Does it all automatically for you.
You can choose what type of camera you'd like and like how you want to move and everything. Kind of tweak it at all.
Yeah, you can obviously tweak everything, but what happens is in the settings pane, you can actually choose to turn on VR, and it sets up a separate camera within your scenes,
right?
Specifically set up for VR. Obviously, the controls don't work. You need to add the code for that, and so it doesn't work straight away, but it does. Head movement works straight off the bat without any changes. Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
It's really cool. So you can get a sense of what it would be like to play a game in VR within the engine, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's cool.
Right on. Yeah. So with this game, what was kind of like the inspiration that gave you this game? So like, I guess your original programmer who kind of came up with this idea. Like, what is the guy has been driving you for this game?
Well, what actually happened was so. I mentioned that we'd obviously been a studio for about 3 years. We had a lot of bad luck with artists. We started several projects, lost an artist, started another project, lost the artist. And because of all our games were so heavily dependent on the art style, we couldn't continue this project. I mean, like those projects are still on the backline. So we ended up doing an internal game jam last July, I think, July 2014. Where each of the guys on the team came up with their own idea, and we spent a few weeks prototyping. And Milcho has always been a really big RTS fan. He's loved those types of games, and I think his inspiration was why not create an RTS game where you don't control the units, where that's purely AI controlled. And I guess in tower defense games, that is kind of the case, except you don't have units. Obviously, in most tower defense games, you just build your towers. But he thought to himself, I guess, let's make it into a competitive experience. And he just took it from there. And then we decided that was the most promising project out of the 4 projects that we came up. we've always been kind of avid fans of making games that we all enjoy playing. We all enjoyed playing the prototype that he put together, and we've just kind of built the game from there, really. Yeah, I think that's mainly the story behind it. It's yeah, lots of bad luck led to some good luck, I guess.
Hey, that's the way of the world.
Yeah.
So Justin, you want to let the listeners know, like, what's I think you're in like kind of like the pre-alpha stage of all this, but what kind of release are you looking for? Like, how far in the future down the road are we going to see this thing on Steam and stuff like that?
Okay, so we're looking to do potentially a Kickstarter in January, end of January, and we're looking to do an early access release Q2 next year.
Okay.
So we're definitely going to talk after this then.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so and then probably full release early 2017.
Right on.
Do you have any screenshots of the game on the website just so people can see it, or are you not really?
Yeah. I mean, if you go to, we actually just did a Steam Greenlight campaign, which we managed to smash through in 9 days.
Nice.
There's some images on the Steam Greenlight page. Thank you.
Okay.
Right, yeah, and then you have a small 45-second video there too as well, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Okay. Awesome. Is there anything else you want to go over about failure or anything else that we might have overlooked? Or?
Yeah, whatever you want to say, or make sure that you get out across to the audience about it.
Okay, well, I mean, the name Failure, why is it called Failure?
Yes, that was a question that I was hoping that you'd address, so please, feel free.
So it is actually to do with the issues that we had with artists. Every game that we had worked on up to that point was a failure, and then Milcho, as a joke, said, why don't we call this game Failure? Because it's probably going to fail as well.
That's great.
Yeah, and then it just kind of stuck. We actually started to fall in love with the name because it tied into the kind of digital cyber world that we're creating, like system failure. Maybe we should rename it System Failure.
Yeah,
yeah, and it just stuck, and it's funny because it's always been a talking point with a lot of people. It's I think it's really important when you choose a name for your game that you have something that stands out among everything else.
Of course.
Because there are hundreds of thousands of games probably being released every year, especially on Greenlight. I don't know what the stats are at the moment, but it's something ridiculous.
At least a few thousand that are trying to be Greenlit right now.
Yeah, they're just sitting there in the queue.
Yeah.
It's nuts now.
Yeah,
Indie Apocalypse that we talked about last week.
Yeah, no, I had to listen to that. Yeah, it's just crazy. So you have to learn to stand out, and I think naming the game Failure, it ties into the world, it ties into our history, and it also ties into the idea that it's a talking point. So yeah.
For sure. As someone who does, again, business development, marketing, branding for a lot of different studios and companies, it's like, that's a good talking point. And again, like my company name is RaptorCow. So, if I was whatever marketing, whatever, game dev, they'd be like, oh, okay, cool, that's what you do. But they're like, hey, RaptorCow, what is that? And it's a good talking point, especially for a company coming up or a smaller studio like yourself. It really kind of helps with that. So, hey, good job. Cool. Well, hey, thanks a lot, Justin. We appreciate all the info. Can you tell everyone how they can, kind of maybe mess with it, play it, kind of test it at all? Do you have any new releases, updates coming up for it? I think you mentioned.
So we're still talking internally about whether we're going to do a demo or not. I personally think we should. Some of my other guys don't think we should. But we'll see. I mean, the best thing to do is to sign up to our newsletter, where you'll probably get, you'll be the first people to know whether we'll be doing an internal alpha test. So if you go to failuregame.com/sign up, you'll be able to sign up to the newsletter and find out some more.
Cool. Well, awesome. Well, it's that time. You know what time it is, John, right? Besides game time. So at the end of every interview, Justin, you know what we do, right?
Yes.
It's the boss battle. Are you nervous?
Tiny bit.
Okay, good. That's good. Then you're alive. So do you know who the boss of this week is?
Yes.
Yes, it is Sarah Kerrigan, or the Queen of Blades from Starcraft. Yes, so, the female Terran ghost, psychic train, expert assassin, turned infested human alien insect hybrid, overlord, broodmother of the Zerg swarm, hell-bent on galactic domination and destruction of all species. Yeah, that chick. So you're going to fight her. So I'm going to run over the quick rules, how they work. And so I'm sure you may know this, but for the listeners who don't know, the questions, you guys can send us in questions. They are our questions or user source. And if you have a question you want to send in, you can hit us up on social media using the hashtag BossBattle, or send us an email to our email address, jtexgamecast@raptorcow.com, with Boss Battle in the subject line. So how it works, Justin, there are 5 levels total. 4 normal levels of increasing difficulty in the pre-encounter, and then 1 final boss counter where you fight the Queen of Blades directly. Okay, you have 60 seconds for the first 4 questions. You can warp a level. So if you don't know a question, you can warp, and time permitting, you can return to that question. So that's basically like a skip, right, or a pass.
Cool.
You get 1 power-up where you make any question 50-50 for the first 4 levels. If you get 4 out of 4, you get another power-up for the boss battle.
Okay.
So it's incentive to do well in the first 4. And then the last boss encounter question is 30 seconds, and it's direct mono e mono. In this sense, it's mono e woman. So and then it's all you. So any questions on that front?
No, bring it on.
Oh, I like it. Bring it on.
He's ready. He's ready.
He's ready. I like that. Okay. A little defiance. All right. Well, we'll see how it goes. We'll see if you can take her down. We've had an interesting track record. Here's a stat so far, John, because I'm tracking all these stats.
Yeah.
This is not quite a statistic, but our 2 boss battle winners, do you know what their names have been? Ed.
No.
Both boss battle. We've had 2 boss battle winners of all the episodes, and they're both named Ed. So there you go. So your name is not Ed, Justin, but
so it doesn't fare well for you, Justin.
That was my point. That was my point. So if your name is not Ed, you're probably going to lose. So okay, without further ado, your boss battle starts when I finish reading your first question. 60 seconds on the clock. Are you ready?
Yep.
Here we go. Level 1. What game allows you to aim at the TV with a plastic gun? Is it A, Battlefield, B, Vice City, C, Duck Hunt, or D, Call of Duty?
C, Duck Hunt.
Final answer?
Yep.
All right, level 2. Which of these video game characters is generally considered to be the fastest? A, Mario, B, Donkey Kong, C, Sonic, or D, Paperboy?
C, Sonic.
Final answer?
Yep.
All righty. Level 3. Street Fighter, the original, was first released in what year?
Ooh.
Don't forget your power up, Justin.
Yeah, you also have a power-up, so you can use it. You have 2 more questions, so you have a power-up.
Okay,
35
power up. I'll use
seconds.
my power up.
Power-up. It's either 1987 or 1990.
1990.
Okay. Level 4. Nintendo, the world's largest video game company, owns which Major League Baseball team?
Oh, shoot. I know this. Warp.
That's it. So you can, again, this is the last question. It's level 4, so it's the last
Oh,
question.
shoot. I can't.
You have 20 seconds.
I don't know. The Knicks. I don't know my baseball that well.
And say final answer.
Yeah.
And time. Okay. Whew. All right. John, how do you think he did?
Man, I thought I was going to go 4 for 4.
I thought he was
Me too.
he was moving. He was quick.
Yeah.
He seemed so calm and collected.
Yeah.
Man. So, all right, we're going to roll through these and see how you did.
Okay.
So, back to level 1. What game allows you to aim at the TV with a plastic gun? The answers were Battlefield, Vice City, Duck Hunt, or Call of Duty. Your answer was Duck Hunt, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Duck Hunt is indeed the right answer. Yeah, good job.
Yay.
Yay. First off, 1 for 1. Okay, good. Everyone remembers that from back in the day on the little Mario bundle, right?
Yeah,
Awesome. So, level 2, the question was, which of these video game characters is generally considered to be the fastest? A, Mario, B, Donkey Kong, C, Sonic, or D, Paperboy? You said C, Sonic, correct?
Yep.
The answer was indeed C. Yes, awesome. Paperboy's pretty good. He's got a bike, but no, Sonic is still
true.
fast, right? But awesome. Good job. All righty, we'll move on to level 3. 2 for 2, man. Looking good. The wheels may have fallen off here, though. So we're just going to put that out there. Level 3, the question was, what year was Street Fighter, the original, first released? You used a power-up here, and the answers were either 1987 or 1990. You chose 1990, correct? The answer was 1987. Oh, man. So, yeah, the original Street Fighter came out in 87. John and I were talking before here. We were both like, was that 89? But no, the original Street Fighter, yeah, because I jumped on to Street Fighter 2, so I didn't play much Street Fighter 1. But, yeah.
The only reason why I remember that is because we went to like a roller skating rink when I was in middle school or whatever. And I didn't roller skate. Obviously, there's an arcade there, and I remember pumping a ton of money into that Street Fighter game.
Oh, yeah.
So...
Exactly. See, like, it's just weird. Like, I was like, wow, it's been that long. But yeah, I guess it has. So, okay, 2 for 3. You're not going to get extra power up for the boss, but let's see how you did for level 4, okay? Level 4 was Nintendo, the world's largest video game company, owns which Major League Baseball team? Your answer was not a baseball team. It was a basketball team, but that is okay. We won't give... I mean, if you asked us, the famous cricket teams, we probably wouldn't know, so it's okay.
Exactly.
We're on...
Neither would I, though. So.
We'll see, there you go. But the answer is actually the Seattle Mariners. Nintendo does own the Seattle Mariners. Pretty cool. So, you are hobbling right now. You down to about half health. You didn't do so good on the levels leading up to the boss, but you're up there. You're at the boss encounter now. So, the Queen of Blades is staring at you in the face in all of her, half-naked insect crazy glory, and she's really mad. So, so dust yourself off, and are you ready for the boss encounter?
Yeah, just about.
Okay, so again, when I finish reading the full question, there's a little bit of an intro and a question. Your timer will start for 30 seconds for this final question, okay? Your boss battle starts right now. Sarah Kerrigan started out life as a young girl with high psychic potential who was trained rigorously as a deadly assassin. Her capture and infestation by the Zerg transformed her into one of the most ruthless and formidable foes in all the galaxy, and she rules the insect-like Zerg species as the Queen of Blades, their hive mind overlord. Your question is, the Zerg closely resemble both in morphology and behavior the eusocial order of insects known as Hymenoptera, which are bees, wasps, and ants. What behavioral characteristic is present across most of the species in this group, allowing them to maintain a successful social caste system?
Hive behavior.
Okay.
Not hive.
You can talk through it.
Shit. Like I don't know, yeah,
20
like a
seconds.
hive system. I'm not sure what it's called though.
The hive system. Okay, is that your answer?
Yeah, go on. Yeah, it's incorrect, but yeah.
Okay, and time. Okay. Whew, John, what are you thinking?
I think it was a tough question.
It was a tough question.
Even when you asked me, I was kind of like, I don't know.
Right. So, okay. So the question was, what behavioral characteristic is present across most species of the order of insects, Hymenoptera, which are bees, wasps, and ants, that allow them to maintain the successful social caste system or the hive mind? Your answer was the hive mind itself, and the actual answer was altruism. That's the answer. So altruism. The characteristic of altruism is present in these type of organisms. So as you know, bees will defend the hive to their death. So if a bee stings you, they die. They know that, but they will do it to defend the hive. Ants, some nectar ants, they'll fill their abdomens with the nectar at the expense of their own mobility and hang themselves to the ceiling to feed the rest of the colony. So this is because, and also you know that the workers are all female that have given up their reproductive abilities, and this is because that all the hive workers are all actually 75% related to each other. They're more related to their sisters than they are their offspring. So they were more willing to defend their sisters in the hive than they will their own offspring. So if they lay eggs, the colony deletes them and throws them away because they're only 50% related. Interesting biological stat there. So, unfortunately, Justin, you did not defeat the boss this week.
Unfortunately, Justin, your name's not Ed.
Your name is not Ed. You didn't defeat the boss. So you are going home today with absolutely nothing, but that's okay. Don't worry about it. There's always next time. We'll have to have you on again once when failure you create the second game called success. But yes, in this sense, you failed. So good job. So we're gonna take a quick break, and then we'll be back with the topic of the week and some emails and get out of here. So taking a quick break. That boss battle was really something. Maybe if he had a little support during the encounter, that would have helped. Support in gaming? Huh. Well, that's exactly what RaptorCow does for you. If you're a game developer or a company in the gaming industry, let RaptorCow be your power-up. We offer creative production assistance, marketing, business development, and our high score program, all designed to take you to the next level. Let RaptorCow help you bring your ideas into reality. Go to RaptorCow.com for more information right now. Seriously, pause the episode and go there. Like now. I'll wait. And we're back. Man, how you feeling, Justin?
Defeated.
Defeated, huh? Well, it's okay. Like most people get defeated. These bosses are tough. That's why they're the boss. Yeah. So, but yeah, good job, valiant effort, but not today. So I think today you brought in a pretty good topic that you've been personally involved with, and actually affects a lot of our guests on here, since we do have a lot of developers on, and I think it's something that the listeners could benefit from, especially if you are a developer, having the insight. So why don't you kind of introduce your topic, Justin, that you brought today? I think it's awesome.
Yeah, so the Steam Greenlight process and how it's kind of become less effective, really, in judging potential customer base over the last few months. The question kind of, well, not the question, the topic kind of stemmed from an article I read recently on Gamasutra by a guy called Jacob Kastalski. I can't even say his last name. Kastalski. He actually wrote a. So yeah, sorry, Jacob. But he wrote an really interesting article about the decline of Greenlight, based on the statistics of people actually going on there and voting, whether they're voting yes, no, or ask me later. And we've seen a general decline over the last 3-4 months. Back in March 9th, 2015, the statistics was stating that people are getting around 21,000 unique views on their Greenlight pages. By July, that had gone down to 15,100 views. And then by October, and around the same time that we were doing our Greenlight page, we only got about 8,000 views on our page, and still managed to get greenlit.
And that's from the original of how many?
From 21,000.
Jeez.
Back in March of this year. And so based on this kind of trend, we're obviously seeing less and less people, or less and less consumers are actually frequenting Greenlight and actually spending time looking at the products on there. And voting, obviously, because it's like the same things happened with the votes. The total number of votes went down from 14,000 back in March down to 10,000 in July, and then 5,000 in October. And we got a total of 3,000, just over 3,000 votes to get greenlit, which is crazy. So what Jacob was saying is that by this time next year, you'll need less than 1,000 views in order to get greenlit, which kind of defeats the whole point of the system. Now, we've obviously been saying for a long time that Steam has kind of abandoned this system anyway, but it's just interesting to see that even the users seem to be abandoning it as well. What's going to replace it? That's what I'm kind of interested in seeing, because there's no other way to get onto Steam unless you've obviously got very close ties with the guys at Valve. You have to go through the Greenlight process.
Mm-hmm. I think part of the problem maybe is that it's been bombarded with so many people, trying to greenlight their games. I mean, if you're a user of Greenlight, I'd imagine, quite a few new games pop on there frequently. I mean, what are you going to do? Check the thing like literally every day and go through all the greenlit games? I mean, not everyone's going to do that. So I think they need to come up with a better way of finding the games, discovering the games, maybe sort of like, like an example would be maybe Indiegogo. Like, if you go in the technology category, there's going to be, 100 campaigns running at once. And there's usually even more than that. But when you click on the technology category, you'll see like kind of 10 campaigns, by default. And that it's almost like a Google ranking where it's saying these 10 campaigns are kind of like the top 10 campaigns running right now in technology. So Greenlight should have something like that, like, hey, here's the top 10 games, or then there could be a news section where you could click on games just launched this week. So there needs to be a better way of finding the games, I think.
True. I mean, they kind of have that system already. Like you know how you get recommended items in your Steam store.
Yeah, they do that
page. Yeah, so they actually do that with Greenlight now as well.
Oh, okay.
So they recommend something in your genre of like what you like to be greenlit. Yeah,
I see.
Mm-hmm. But I think the issue, and you kind of touched on it, one of the biggest issues is that there's just so much crap on Greenlight. There's so much stuff on there.
It makes people not want to go look at it. It's too much. It's almost the Netflix problem. You go on Netflix, you're like, I don't even know what I'm doing here. It's just ugh, and so you kind of just go away from it for the sake of just too much. So if there is that nice project that you might even like, or that something that's a really good game, it gets lost in the shuffle, lost in the fray.
Exactly. And like Steam had a good idea because they're, hey, give us $100 and you got a shot, getting on our platform. No other platform is like that. I mean, I can't imagine what it's like to get onto like Sony or Xbox or whatever, but this kind of gives like the average person, the common person or whatever, a chance to get their game on a platform. But I think Steam either they lost interest or they didn't think it well through enough. I don't know.
Yeah, well, they lost interest the moment that they started doing this type of system. I think they've taken the hands off approach and obviously given the powers to the users. But in a way, it's almost as if they don't really care what is on their platform because they're greenlighting around 100 titles twice a month.
Okay.
So 100 titles at the beginning of the month and 100 titles at the end of the month.
Okay.
So they're just letting 200 games that are in the top 100 through the process. Occasionally, certain games will get held back if they're in the top 100 for some particular reason that no one quite knows why. But yeah, it's not the best of systems. I kind of think that if you want to get a game on a platform, you should go through the process of having to contact the platform holder and speaking to them. And actually pitching your game for the platform. I think by losing that, it's caused a massive flood of just crap on Steam.
Totally.
Which makes it much harder for the companies that are obviously putting a lot of effort into their campaigns. It gives them less of a chance. And that's the thing we spent as a company, we spent 2 months putting together our Greenlight campaign. Whereas you've got people on there that spent 15 minutes writing,
and they still get greenlit.
Yeah.
It's the thing is too. It's the hands-off approaches. You're totally right with, but it's like if you're going into the Greenlight process and you really want to get it done, it's that arbitrary kind of conspiracy theory that John and I were looking at. It's like I've seen a lot of titles get greenlit, but they have no business getting greenlit just to hit a quota. It seems like. It seems like they're just pushing games through just to push games through. And then also, like, I agree with, hey, you should have to contact Steam or contact Valve. But the problem is, too, is, like, they would rather put their resources into creating, their Steam box and doing, Dota and all these things that makes them money. The hands-off approach, they don't want to dedicate a section or division to dealing with indie games. It's just not beneficial for them.
Well, the way that Valve works is that everyone that works there gets to choose what they work on, anyway, and obviously no one wants to work on the indie side of things. It's the same with like the marketing team. Like I emailed a guy in their marketing team before we went through the Greenlight process. We're on a business accelerator, and the guy who runs the business accelerator gave us the email address of a guy at Steam. At Valve. And so I emailed the guy, and he just sent me a load of links that were freely available on the website. He wasn't interested in talking to me or talking about our game or anything like that. They seem to be the guys of Valve seem to have this complete disconnect with their community, whether the community is the users or the devs that are filling their shop full of games that they're making lots and lots of money from.
Yeah.
and Valve is renowned for having terrible customer support on top of that.
And the problem is too, the only way to get out now is to go on Steam.
Yeah.
If you're not on Steam, you're not getting out. Like, people don't go buy copies of games. You can't go to Target and say, "Hey, here's my game. We got 10,000 discs, pressed,
right?
And here, buy our disc." No, it doesn't work like that. People use digital downloads, and the marketing. You can't get anywhere without Steam, and they have that monopoly now, and so they can be.
Which is
so
why they don't
hands-off.
have to put any effort behind
they don't
it.
need any effort. They can do whatever they want, and that's unfortunate. I don't mean to talk down to Valve, because I'm sure they have other ways they're doing it, but I'm sure they have so many other things on their plate that they'd rather deal with at this point. But it's just to the discredit of the hardworking indie dev or in a small studio who's really, this is their lifeblood. This is what they really want to do, and you're going to get lost in the shuffle for the 16-year-old kid who's just kind of making a game and throws it up there. Who's just kind of, hey, let's see what happens, but I don't care. It's just a big mess as far as like the interface and just trying to find a game. Because at any one time, there are just, on Steam itself, there are just so many games. It's just hard to even search through them. And even the ones that, like John was saying, like when you go on Steam, like the suggestions for you that are there, but even like their main like suggestions or like the highlighted ones, there's just so many games. Like, I've never heard of this. What is it? What's going on? It's getting to the point now where it's like, okay, we need this platform to get our game out, but it's like, how effective is that actually? Like, are people going to actually find our game on this giant pool of something? It's like putting a teardrop in the ocean.
Right.
I mean, to Valve's, to the good things that they do, the tool set that you get access to after you've been greenlit is really, really good. You can set up all sorts of cool stuff that I'm not allowed to talk about because I signed an NDA. But so the tool set's great, but at no point do you ever have any human contact with any of their team throughout the whole process, which is really
here's a dev kit, here's a tool set, here's a marketing packet, here's some links, here's and then
See ya.
have fun. Bye.
Precisely. Yeah. And for me, I think human contact with potential partners is really important. But in some ways, we've actually lost that with our users as well through using something like Steam. I don't know. It's a confusing topic, but going back to the topic at hand, like, I think users have now obviously lost faith in the whole process because of the fact that it's swamped, it's not
if you don't
curated
even know where
properly.
to start, it's like, why bot?
There's nothing novel in there
Exactly.
anymore. It's more crap than good stuff now. So it's like, you don't want to wait through the crap to find the gem. It's just like, I'd rather just go play a game that's good that I know about. Easy. So
Yeah. It's a shame.
It's unfortunate, but like I said, we talk about the topic, but it's like, how do we change that landscape? Is there a need to be another platform created that maybe, kind of does its own thing? But how fast is it going to be that Valve just squashes it? It's like, nope. So it's like, how do you carve a niche out in that space and still allow it to be a functioning, kind of little incubator or way for smaller indie studios to get out there? It's just, do you create that? Do you try to contact Valve and have them create something internal and kind of have a petition and have everyone get together and say, hey, this is what we get to do? Like, it's interesting. There's no easy fix to it, because it's like, now the internet, we always talk about it, there's people can do more and more things. They have more tools at their disposal. They have more time, more things to do. And so it's like, everyone's going to have the ability to make a game, and now it's easier than ever. So you're going to get this influx of crap. So it's how do you effectively sort it? Because it's going to happen, but you've got to be able to sort it so the good stuff rises to the top. So
True. I mean, it's going to be impossible. I mean, Valve needs to dedicate a team to it, like they used to. Yeah, they have
or
to.
They have to hire the barrier to entry.
Yeah. That's a good one. I like that one. Raise the bar to get in. Like, you have to be, at least a pre-alpha with a build, and you have to have at least this and have at least these specs and something. So you can't just throw a little JPEG game where you just made it on Game Creator on your iPad.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the thing that Jim Sterling always brings up. He loves playing his crappy Unity Asset Store games that are put through Greenlight. And there's so many of them, like people just literally using the assets that are available on the asset store, putting something together really, really quick, and then releasing it on Steam Greenlight. And there's just so much of that. And it's, what though, like thinking about it, the best way for a developer to get around that is just to put everything you possibly can into, doing the best Greenlight game. Yeah, exactly. Make a good game. Make it,
Yeah.
spend time, and actually polish everything that you do. Make it look better than anything else that's on there, and you'll get through the process. And you'll, hopefully be a successful game studio. I mean, that's what we've got in our mind. Just do the best we possibly can.
Sure.
Try to ignore the crap that's on there.
You have to, and that's all you get. You again, I always pull back to like my sports background and coaching for years. It's you do your job, control what you can control. You can't. You don't do the guys next to you's job, because if he does, you do his, he does someone else's, the play breaks down, whatever breaks down, right? And if you try to control something you can't control, you're going to drive yourself crazy. So all you can do as a studio is make the best game you can, use every resource at your disposal, call everybody, talk to everybody, learn, and just do whatever you need to do, pay for whatever you need to pay for, just get your game out however you need to get it out, and doing all the right things in that order will hopefully rise you to the top. There's going to be special cases where some games get preferential treatment, but you can't control that. You just do the best you can do, and like I said, it seems like you guys are doing a pretty good job so far. So yeah, I think you guys just keep on the track, right? And you've seen you've seen the rough times, so you know what they are. So that's good.
Yeah.
So well, hey, awesome.
Yeah,
that's a great topic. I'm glad we brought that up. I'm sure people can, some devs who are listening can take something from that. But yeah, should we get in some emails now, guys?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, let's finish up with a couple emails. Got some good ones this week. So if you want to write in to the show, you can do so at jtexgamecast@raptorcow.com. Send us an email. You can also contact us on our Facebook group, which is John and Ted's Excellent Gamecast group. And yeah, or any social media platform. We're all JTEX Gamecast. You can get a hold of us there. So the first email comes in from Jesse M. from St. Louis. It says, with the holiday season upon us, how do you feel about pre-orders in games? I've heard both sides. Never pre-order, or pre-order if you want a cool thing. Is it really a matter of preference, or is it... so let me reread this little typo there. Is it consumers literally buying into an evil system that bleeds money from our pockets for no reward? Jesse, interesting topic. What do you guys think about that?
I am fully against pre-ordering because Sony screwed me over with the PlayStation 2.
Ever since then, huh?
Yep. I don't know if you guys were hit
times
by that, but everyone, all the game places were taking pre-orders from PlayStation 2,
and they sold yours right from under your nose.
And then Sony shortchanged everyone, and then tons of people that put down their money to pre-order it didn't get a PlayStation 2. So,
yeah. I don't know. For me, it's a hard one. I mean, I pre-order, but I don't know why I pre-order. I think well, actually, I do know why I pre-order. So I only ever pre-order from one online shop. And the only reason I do it is because I get a big discount when I pre-order really, really early.
Well, there you go.
Which is the only reason that I ever pre-order. But recently, that discount has been less and less, to the point where actually I've cancelled all my pre-orders and I don't do it anymore.
Okay.
Yeah, I only pre-order if there's something that I really want. Like if there's something cool with it, there's something in the game that you get. But other than that, like I used to pre-order a lot. Like when pre-orders first were like big, like maybe like late 2000s, 2007, 8, 9. Yeah, I was pre-order. But ever since the last like 5 years or so, I've pre-ordered less. I mean, unless it's a game that I must have and there's something cool with it. I pre-ordered Skyrim and a couple other games. But I mean, other than that, I think pre-orders are kind of a little bit rotten nowadays. So I try to stay away.
That's the thing. I mean, with most games being either available digitally or often actually at a much higher price than the store purchase price. But it's never an issue of stock anymore. There's always enough stock to go around, unless you're buying some kind of collector's edition. And then if you're buying a collector's edition, yeah, fair enough. Like buy pre-order if you want to get that cool statue or whatever. But for the majority of people, there's no reason to pre-order because there's always going to be enough stock for you to pick it up on day one. We haven't had issues with stock for a long time.
No,
I mean maybe console launches are a bit different.
Yeah.
I've got an awesome pre-order story. This is back in the Super Nintendo days when A Link to Past came out. And, this is back before, this is what made me think of it. This is back before, having stock wasn't a problem. And we went to the store, my friend and his dad, and he was going to buy it because my friend had the Super Nintendo. We went there, they were out of it, and they were looking on the computer, but my friend's dad could see the screen. and they had a couple of people that had like pre-ordered it, but so the only copies that had left were for those people. So we go back out to the car, and I don't remember the exact name, but his dad's like, "Okay, you guys go back in and say Bob Smith is your dad, and you came to pick up the game." He gave us the money for the game. We go in. We're like, yeah, Bob Smith is our dad. Oh, yeah, here it is right here. Gave us the game. We paid for it.
No, you are the problem, John. You are the problem. Oh, I love that. That's so terrible and awesome at the same time. High five.
But yeah, the minute you start talking about that made me think of that. That was awesome.
You're a terrible person, John. But you know what? That game was great, so it's all worth it.
By far. That was the best Zelda game, in my opinion.
I still haven't beat it yet. That's my next game to go through and beat. I got to get on that one. So I'm going back, Justin, and beating all the old games that I played a lot of but never beat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's one of them on the list. And a lot of them are Zelda titles. I played a lot of Zelda but never beat them. It's so.
For me, it's Battletoads. I'm trying to beat Battletoads.
Oh, I played Battletoads so many times. It's impossible to beat without Game Genie codes. Just don't even try. So, but no, that was one of my favorite games growing up with my sister and I. We played that game so much. Oh man, right on. I love this question coming up. This is right in line with the whole Fallout everything. I have some good takes on it. I'm sure you do too, Justin. But it says, "What's up, fellas? The show is good, and I listen on my commute." Thanks, appreciate it, Nathan. That's who writes in the email. He goes, but I'm curious to know, what do you think the next step for a studio like Bethesda would be after Fallout 4? I know another Elder Scrolls game is on the way, but what does that mean? With all the divisive talk about Bethesda games and their either charming jankiness or unforgivable game-breaking glitches, where do they go? And that's Nathan from Los Angeles. Great question, I think. Because there's always two sides to that. There's some people who are just Bethesda fanboys, or people who like it, like me. I like Bethesda, and the whole jankiness and like, the glitches. That's fine. It's just part of the game. You just play it. Or there's people who are like, dude, this game is terrible because of that. Like, it's a good game, but everything's broken all the time. They should fix that. And it's really divisive at this time. And I'm I kind of sit on the fence on that personally. Like, I play through the games and just kind of see the glitches and see how they go, and like, okay, that sucks, but I enjoy the games themselves. But I do recognize the fact that it's about time for them to like kind of fix some stuff. Their engine is kind of old and needs to be updated. Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to say. When you're making an engine that's capable of doing what their engine is capable of doing,
exactly,
there's always going to be some issues.
For sure.
And I think it would cost them too much money to start from scratch, to build a whole brand new engine. But then it's the same argument with the Call of Duty. They're using always the same engine with slight enhancements that they've added throughout the years, much like Bethesda. It's hard to say. I mean, the glitches don't really annoy me that much.
Yeah, me neither.
But then I'm a game dev, so it's a bit different. I don't see them as game breaking as such,
right?
But yeah, I mean, I love the games. I kind of wish they would do something original, something a bit newer soon, because I mean, all their games are kind of the same, really. Whether it's a Fallout or an Elder Scrolls game, I mean, they're great games. You can get lost in them for days, months, potentially even years. But it'd be really cool for them to come up with something new, something a bit different. And if they were to do something a bit different, then maybe they could use a new engine. I don't know. Move to Unity.
Yeah, right. Do something. Yeah, it's kind of a weird deal. I hope they really kind of reevaluate. You got to think too, Fallout it's been in development for years, so they're still on the old kind of technology before they knew what the new technology was. They knew they had the kits, but stuff has developed so much in the years since they first started development. So I think the new round of games will be built kind of nowish. So, they should have identified, what's going on, what the new age will be. So I'm interested to see their new direction. Hopefully a new IP would be great, or something just unique in the games. But again, it's just interesting to hear the divisive talk between, hey, the jankiness is charming and that's what makes these games fun, or dude, this sucks, this game is terrible because of all these glitches, like, why can't they fix it? So I mean, I think it's interesting. So thanks, Nathan. I got time for a couple more. This is This is a quick one. Oh, here's a quick one for us, John. I laughed when I saw this. Okay, it says, John, Ted, and distinguished guests. That's you, Justin. So,
hey, distinguished. Nice.
Yeah, right. How do you know you're from England? See? Huh? Here's a friendly wagers. The Broncos play the Patriots on November 29th. How about you guys name the podcast Bill and Tom's Dominant Season for that week if the Broncos lose? Pablo from Massachusetts.
I'd rather chew on broken glass.
Oh, Bill Belichick and Tom Brady. So Bill and Tom's Dominant Season for the week if the Broncos lose. That's from Pablo E. from Massachusetts.
Yeah. I get enough of that on Facebook.
Yeah, okay, so that's just a quick one. I had to just read that because, Pablo, go suck an egg. That would never happen.
Yeah,
I don't care. Patriots, ugh, gross. Okay, so here's a good one, too. Maybe the last one. I say, hey, excellent adventurites. What video game genre do you absolutely despise? Okay, or just don't really like or don't play often? And that's Brian from Modesto, California. So what do you despise playing, or what kind of genre, or you just don't really play that often or don't really like? What about you, Justin? Genre?
Sports games, actually.
Okay.
like Madden, any football games. I'm not into them.
Yeah.
I could probably play them. I could probably kick your ass at them, but they're not my.
Yeah. Well, I've already talked crap to him via email. So as soon as he gets a build up of his game that he's doing the tweaks, I'm going to just smoke him in his own game. So
there you go.
For sure. No, for me, I played sports games like they were my job for a while there. I don't play them as much anymore, just time wise. But it wouldn't be sports game. But to me, it's fighting games. I had a time where I played a lot of fighting games. Like I was obsessed with Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, and Tekken, like back in the day. But nowadays, not so much. But I really play all games. Like I play all games. But so I guess now would maybe be a game genre that I really don't play is like straight up like puzzle games, like Candy Crush. Yeah, Candy Crush, or I mean, I played Tetris a lot back in the day, like Dr. Mario and all that stuff.
I couldn't stand Tetris. I was horrible at it.
My mom used to kick me off my Nintendo to play Tetris, like when I was a kid. She'd be like, "Hey, why don't you go outside and play? I'm gonna play Tetris." I'm like, "Mom."
Yeah, like Dr. Mario. I was horrible at games like that.
Yeah, no, I don't play those anymore. But
my father-in-law still plays Tetris, and he tears that up. He gets over level 100.
My mom's obsessed with puzzle games. Like, I don't know if you guys played the game Intelligent Cube on the original PlayStation. It's actually it's awesome game. It's so rare that I have actually 2 copies of it, and it's so rare that they're each worth over $250 just for the copy of the game.
Nice.
Yeah, so I'm gonna hold on to those for a while. But I got it because I played it on an original, like one of those PlayStation demo discs that came out with it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and so we had like the first 2 levels of it. And so I bought it, and I thought it was cool. I'm like maybe 11 or 12 when I bought it. I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm enjoying this, but I'm over it. My mom, on the other hand, though, like she would, seriously, in the middle of the night, she'd come take my PlayStation out of my room, put it in the living room, and set it up and play it till like 3 a.m, and then put it back in my room. Like, I was like, what? So, so she was obsessed. But yeah, I guess that's it for me, puzzle games. But yeah, I don't play as many fighting games anymore because I'm just not that good at them anymore.
I used to rock Soul Calibur on the Dreamcast.
Oh yeah, that was fun. I mean, yeah, those are the days. Like when
that was such a good game. Yeah.
Oh man, it looked. I mean, you remember when you first played? It's just so great. It's like wow, like yeah. But I guess that's it for this week on emails. This for time wise. I think we have a couple more, but I'll save them. So sorry, Donnie from Arizona and Christine from Minnesota. You guys will have to wait till next week. So
don't you know?
Yeah, don't you know? Yeah, for real. Like tater tot hot dish. I lived there for 2 years, so when I first went up there, I thought it was hilarious. I didn't think people actually talk like that. And then I went into a Best Buy, so I went up there, and I moved in. So the next day, I went to a Best Buy, and it was just the lady's like, "Oh, how you doing there?" I was like, "What? Excuse me? Like, how's it going there? Don't you know? Can you finding everything? Is everything okay?" And I was like, "Oh my lord!" It was funny. So yeah, they actually do talk like that. They say oofta a lot. That means like, oh wow, like
Oh, okay.
oofta, and eat tater tot hot dish.
Tater tot hot dish.
Tater tot hot
That's
dish.
what happens when you get too close to Canada.
I know exactly. It bleeds over, eh? So,
One of our artists is actually Canadian.
oh, really? What part of Canada is he from?
I
They don't
actually
like
know
that.
it. I have absolutely no idea, and I think he's half Chinese as well. So
Okay, well, see, if you say Canada, it's all one big thing. It doesn't
Hey,
matter.
I was just gonna say there's no difference between the
No, it's no
between the cities
delineation.
and
Like the only
provinces.
difference
It's all the same.
is Quebec. And, I mean, a little bit of Montreal is different than BC. That's the only difference. Everything in between is the exact same. So all you Canadian listeners, we're sorry, but hey. All right, I think that's gonna do it for the episode. Justin, thanks, dude. Like seriously, you're awesome.
Yeah,
no
thanks,
worries,
man.
man.
Seriously.
Pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
It definitely was. Like, we want to have you back on. I think I speak for John too. You're easy to talk to, a good guest, and I said good luck, best of luck with your game. So everybody, the game is Failure. I'll let
That's
Justin.
failuregame.com.
Yes, failuregame.com. I will let Justin give his little shameless plug. So go ahead and like all your social media, everything, websites ready and go.
Okay, so www.failuregame.com/sign up for the newsletter. Head to our main website for other details. So that's dreamharvest.co.uk. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. It's at dream_harvest. And then obviously on Steam, you can find us as well, Steam Greenlight. We've even got like a nice little failure group page all set up. So come and find us anywhere.
Please join the group. Sign up for the mailing list. Follow them on Twitter and everything. Join Facebook group, all that kind of stuff.
Just come and chat with us.
Yeah, and that's the thing with this show. You get devs, and when other times you get to actually talk to the actual game devs.
Exactly.
Yeah, we mentioned that last time with Veloz. Veloz will actually play the game with you, and you get to talk to them. So, like I said, hit them up, talk to them, and I'm sure they love your feedback. As the game comes out as we go. But we'll put everything in the show notes for you guys to check out. Now it's time for our closeout segment that we do every week. So last week was Guess That Game, and it was a clue based on an audio clip. So I'm going to play the audio clip again to remind you of the clue, and here it goes. Okay, so there you have it. The answer for this clue was Kirby's Adventure on the NES. And our winner for this week was, let me pull it up because I had it in front of me, but it was Sam C. from Denver. He correctly emailed in. He was the first one to email it into us. So thanks, Sam. We will get a hold of you and you will get a prize. So awesome job. This week's closeout segment is my favorite, because it's me, Ted's Top Lists. So just so a caveat is my top lists are my favorites. Not the bests, not the top necessarily, but my favorites, my personal favorites. So I list a favorite in any category, and you can email us at jtexgamecast@raptorcow.com with the subject line Ted's Top Lists or Ted's Tops, whatever you want to say. And we're on social media with the hashtag TedTop. And you can give us a theme for what you want me to rank. What are my favorites? So this week is the top 10 crazy but good burger toppings. Oh yes, it's food. I love food. Here's some ground rules, okay? These are the ground rules on what I consider toppings. So what I consider for these rankings. You can put anything on a burger. It doesn't matter. You can put jelly beans, Honey Nut Cheerios, bananas, ice cream, clam chowder, I don't know, you name it. But it actually has to be good, and the flavors must complement the burger. So it's not just some crazy stuff that sucks. And I've tried all of these, and these are my ranking of favorites. So we're going to start at the bottom with number 10. So number 10 favorite crazy but good topping is ribs/pulled pork. Now it's not necessarily too crazy, but generally putting meat as a topping on a burger is outlandish. But yeah, I've had some nice ribs, baby back ribs, and some pork ribs and some pulled pork on the burger, and it's phenomenal. So number 9, filet mignon. So that's kind of on the same wheelhouse, but putting steak on a burger, awesome, especially a nice, tender filet mignon, fantastic. Number 8. This goes without saying. I mean, put an egg on it, it's better. Egg on anything is better. Put an egg on your cereal, it's better. But fried eggs or scrambled eggs. Had them both on a burger. It's awesome. Love it. So that's number 8. Number 7 is cranberry sauce. And here's that Thanksgiving time of year coming up in about a week. You got to have cranberry sauce. But on a burger, what? But it's actually really good. So cranberry sauce is on number 7. My number 6 is eggplant parmesan. Yes, I've actually had an eggplant parmesan breaded, marinara sauce, fried up and everything, put on top of the burger, cut it up, dug into it. It was great. And my number 5 are mashed potatoes. Yes, mashed potatoes on a burger, garlic mashed potatoes on top of it, to be even more specific, and it was awesome. Number 4, macaroni and cheese. Yeah. Big old slab of cheesy macaroni and cheese on top of a burger with cheese already on top of it. Can't go wrong with this. It sounds weird, sounds messy. It is, but it's great. So as the cheese falls all over the place, you dip the burger back in the mac and cheese. Ooh, yeah. Number 3, also messy and crazy, is syrup and butter. I've had syrup and butter on a burger, on a sweet waffle toasted bun, and it was great. So the typical fixings all across the board, but you put some syrup and butter on that thing. Amazing. My number 2, now we're getting crazy, pizza. Yes, I've eaten a hamburger with pizza on it. It literally had pizza on it. I've had it 2 ways. I had a hamburger with a slice of pizza on it as one of the sides or one of the pieces of bread. I've had a regular burger with a pizza slice in it, and I've had a burger with all the dressings of pizza. So the same cheeses, meats, toppings, and sauces as a pizza. So pizza on a burger, great. And my number 1, weird, crazy, but actually good topping on a burger is none other than good old American peanut butter and jelly. That sounds disgusting, I know, but don't knock it till you try it. Go to Slater's 50/50 in San Diego, and you can have their peanut butter and jelly burger. It is really good. It's super messy. John would have a conniption here listening to this, but yes, it is fantastic. So that's the closeout segment for today, and I hope you enjoyed Ted's top list. So my honorable mentions are pineapple on a burger. Not too crazy, but, a little outlandish for burgers. You get a teriyaki burger a lot of places, but pineapple, chorizo, that's a San Diego thing, big time, or a southern style thing, and chili. Those are my honorable mentions. So there you go. It's now time to end the show. For us, you can get us at all of our social media. It's at JTEX Gamecast. My personal Instagram, Twitter, everything is at TedWords44. John is at JNadeau, Nadeau 7. Again, join our Facebook group. Find us on iTunes. Like it, subscribe, share it with your friends. Write us a review. Hey, we need your feedback. And then, like I said, write us an email at jtexgamecast@raptorcow.com. That's going to do it. Thanks, everybody, for another episode of John and Ted's Excellent Gamecast, and we'll see you later.
Game over.